29 more selections last night than 30 more selections last night in the draft than Royals scored runs. So we'll talk about the NBA draft, some of the things that happened, some of the storylines, the drama, the tears, both happy and sad. Talk about some of those things. Kent Swanson will join us at 11 o'clock. We'll play some sports or leisure today in the 1 o'clock hour.
Fact.
We'll talk some Josh Simmons. And we'll talk a little bit about the stadium as it looks like we are getting closer and closer to the finish line of finding out where these two teams will be playing their sports coming up in 2031 or so. Maybe earlier than that for the Royals, but that for the Kansas City Chiefs. Since we know that the Kansas City Chiefs, Mark Donovan had talked about that at the Super Bowl, they do not plan to break the lease even if they were to move to the Kansas side, the Star Bonds, Missouri side, with the Show Me State Sports Investment Act that was passed and signed by Governor Kehoe. So we'll talk about that as well, some of the latest intel conversations, reporting what Stephen talked about this morning with the two sides, the two teams, what the possibilities are. So we'll get into some of those things as well. 913-912-4810 is the text line, 913-912-4810. Text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. I mean, this is what it is Groundhog Day, right? Like, we're experiencing Groundhog Day with this Royals team because every day we come on the air and either we're sort of taken aback and surprised pleasantly at the runs they scored and wondering, is this the breakout? Or it's this continual, constant, never-ending, never-ceasing, never-relenting conversation about the offense that does cease, that does relent, that does end quite early in innings and games. It's simply Groundhog Day. And a couple of nights ago, Matt Quatraro said after the game was over that, if we could point out one thing. I think it was Greg Eklund that asked him a question about, is there something that you're seeing that's going on? It was like, well, if we could point out one thing for this, it was about why you're losing. It wasn't even about the offense. It was just like what's going on with this team and the struggles. And he's like, if we could figure out one thing, then yeah, we'd press the button and we'd fix that. Well, we have figured it out. We do know why. There's one reason why they're losing. They're losing because of the offense. I mean, people can complain about Matt Quatraro all they want, We can discuss pulling starters too early, going to bullpen arms, wrong inning, wrong matchups, guys not coming through, guys losing their role, guys not pitching the way that we have seen them do recently. Games where you score runs or you've got a lead and the bullpen doesn't hold on to it. Games where there's an early couple of runs scored by the other team and you feel like ball game. The Tampa Bay Rays get 3 runs on 4 hits. The Royals get 4 singles and score a run. Maybe not any, who knows, because they might have a double play in the inning. They might have a single, a double play. Well, that would send the guy to third. Let's start over. A single, a double play, bases empty, and then single. 4 singles in an inning and don't score any runs. The Rays got 3 runs on 4 singles. Some bunts. How about that? They got some bunts down. Why are you bunting? It's so early in the game. You shouldn't be bunting. You should
Against the Royals, just score one, you win.
Wait for the big inning. You shouldn't be bunting. Don't bunt early in the game. You shouldn't bunt. It's all about don't bunt. You got to have big innings happen because these big innings happen all the time for the Royals. Can't bunt. Michael Garcia bunting against the White Sox. Oh my God, the worst thing I've ever seen. They scored 2 runs. They should try to score 6 against the White Sox because beating the White Sox 3-2 is embarrassing.
I don't know that voice. It's an in-between between the the humanity and
the humanity
and like an 85-year-old Southern lady. I don't know.
My word.
Yeah, it was in between those
Why
two.
I never. The clutching the pearls and the humanity sort of.
It was a weird combo.
You should totally not bunt. That's what Rays bunt, but that's different. They're good. So, frustrations aside in that conversation, it is Groundhog Day. And there really is no new way to talk about this. Like Matt Quatraro, if we could figure out what's going on, then we'd press the button. Well, the problem is they can't press the just score more runs button. If they could, they would have done that a while ago. But we know what's going on. We know why they're losing. Matt Quatraro knows why they're losing. He knows why they're losing. It's because they're not scoring enough runs. He can't say that. He can't say, well, we're not winning because we're not scoring runs. That's the problem. I mean, I guess he could say that.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with saying that. But there's a lot of different things going on. What's the lot of different things? Because if you're saying there's a lot of different things and they're all different things about specifically the offense, then I agree. That's the lot of different things. Because pulling a guy too early, leaving him out there too long, bullpen coming up and giving up a run is not an issue if you score more than a run sometimes. In these 2 games against the Rays, they've scored a run. And that came when they were down 5-0 in the 9th inning.
Imagine going to the game last night. Imagine how boring that is.
Right, that's sort of the point, right? Like, there's no entertainment factor. Like, I love baseball. Would love going out to the game. There's baseball in town. Soren said this for a long time. Totally agree. There's baseball in town. There's, great places to be. But there may be no better place to be when you've got Major League Baseball in your town and go out to the game and just enjoy it when it's, maybe not 100 degrees. But it's expensive to go out there. And then you take your family and you're watching that, Sterling? Like, how soon are you wanting to get back?
You get down 3-0 in the 2nd inning, and you automatically think this game is over.
Yep.
You think, wow, I just got to my seats. I'm sitting here, maybe just cracked open the first beer, maybe have not even received a hot dog yet, have not even gone and gotten the dog. You're down 3-0, and you think, well, sure glad I came out here. I'm glad I spent money on this product.
Well, maybe they can scrap some runs together, and maybe they can run into one. Well,
maybe they can score one in the 9th.
They can't run into one because, Jonathan Indy said you can't hit home runs in this park. You can't do it. I mean, Danny Jansen doesn't have any home runs, but he's got a home run in that park.
The A's hit 6 in that 3-game series against them.
No, those
were they all count. Inside the Parkers, or
all of them were inside the Parkers?
Okay.
They're playing in Yellowstone. It's Little League Baseball. You hit it over the head, especially those bigger fields with turf in the outfield. You hit over the head and just rolls and rolls and rolls. Well, there's your home run. Well, it's not an air home run. Well, it's an inside the park home run. Yeah, but it's still a home run. There were no airs on the play. That's a home run. Inside the park or not, it counts. That's how it happened. That's how they were hitting all those home runs.
That makes more sense.
You can't hit it over the fence. It's too far away.
Because everyone knows Danny Jansen's super fast.
And
lightning.
And we know Danny Jansen usually hits them 500 feet because that's what you got to do to be able to hit the ball that far.
A guy who's batting 195.
Does he have 9 home runs on the season? Which would be one of the best on the heck, if you put the guy that's batting 195 on the Royals with 9 home runs, he'd be one of the better hitters on this team.
He has 8 home runs, batting 195, OPS 664. That would be pretty good, better than Salvi this year. So
1/8 of all of his home runs this year have come in a place where you can't hit home runs, so that's pretty interesting.
Shocking.
Yeah. If you hit the ball far enough, you can hit home runs. So it's Groundhog Day, and I don't know what the entertainment factor is with this. I mean, they've compiled 12 base runners in the last 2 nights. 12 base runners in 1 run. Getting guys even into score, like we talked about their inability with runners in scoring position. Well, it's an inability to get them into scoring position right now, and really most of the season. I mean, Tuesday night they had 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs, and Bobby lined out. That's unfortunate because it was a ground rule double. Bounces into the seats. And if the Royals were scoring a lot of runs, and this was like a 7-6 loss, and you're like, man, that would have been nice to get that run, then I would have more energy for it should be left up to the umpire's discretion as to whether or not that man would have scored when that ball bounced into the stands, because Rave was already around 3rd. He would have scored easily, but he's got to go back to 3rd. I wouldn't mind having the umpire's discretion. The umpire should be good enough, right, to do that. I mean, we trust them with balls and strikes, of course, less and less. But I do believe they should have. There are some times in a review where they can leave it up to the umpire to say, we're going to place these runners depending on where we thought they were going to get to. But I would have more energy for that if this team was scoring other runs and it was closer or something like that. But, you get 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs, and Bobby comes up and lines out. Last night you got the bottom of the fourth with a runner at 3rd and 2 outs, and Salvi popped out. Well, popped up and popped out. And I saw people on Twitter that was like, wow, first pitch? I'm like, I don't care. Good. I'm glad he ambushed the first pitch. I'm not mad about the first pitch. What I'm mad about is if you're swinging first pitch, shouldn't it be, this is a specific pitch I'm looking for, and if I get it, I am going to. If he throws me, there was a mound visit.
Yeah.
Coming after the mound visit, this guy throws me a fastball, I'm killing it. And it was 96-mile-an-hour fastball, pretty decently deep into the zone. It wasn't on an edge anywhere. It got a big chunk of the plate, and Salvi was late, jammed him, popped it up. That's one to where I feel like if you're going to be swinging first pitch and ambush, it's because I'm looking for fastball. And if this guy throws me a fastball, I'm going to hit it. Now, maybe he thought it was going to be low and away, and so he was maybe diving out, and that's why he got hit on the handle. But either way, if you're going to be ambushing, you should be looking at pitch and location. Tunneling. This is the pitch, this is the location, and I'm going to swing and I'm going to ambush it. We've got guys at, we got a runner at 3rd and 2 outs. Okay, well, that didn't work out. Got a runner at 2nd with 1 out in the 6th inning. Garcia strikes out, and Vinny, flies out. Runner at 2nd in the 9th inning, and 2 outs, and Cags grounds out. But still, like, you're talking about the tying run getting to the plate. When did the tying run get to the plate last night? You had a runner at 3rd. You had a runner
first inning when it was 0-0.
That's a good point. Yeah, you had 3 different times.
Yeah,
every of the tying runs.
Every of the tying runs in the first inning. Yeah,
got to the plate.
Bottom of the first.
Yeah, like you weren't even a blast away from tying it. You were still a bloop and a blast, or a walk and a blast, or another single and a blast away from even tying it. That's the issue you're running into. I mean, it's just like the entertainment factor of being out there. Like, we're talking about where the next stadium's going to go. And right now it's kind of difficult to be like, oh, yeah, it's going to be exciting if you put it here, because of what we're watching currently. It's the Sam Presti model of having the stomach for the rebuild, and thinking long-term while in the middle of having these terrible things that are happening with a team and losing and winning 20 games there in Oklahoma City. While the Royals are talking about where the next 40 years of their baseball is going to be played, it's frustrating because we're watching this team lose night in and night out and not be able to score runs.
Well, you got shut out by, all the greatest players you've ever heard of Drew Rasmussen. I'm pretty sure Ross Poutine, I think there's a song about him, actually.
Rasmussen's pretty good. Taj Bradley has some talent. He was just getting hit around this year.
Because you've heard of Kevin Kelly, right?
Yeah, KK.
Yeah, Garrett Clevenger. Garrett Clevenger I actually have heard of, but, come on now. Edwin Uceda.
Yeah, you see it, I see it.
Yeah.
We both see it.
And we saw him strike
we
out.
All see it out there.
Phase 5 batter, struck out 4 of them. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
And then Peter Fairbanks. But it's just one of those situations where it's just.
I know Peter Fairbanks.
Yeah, he went Mizzou guy.
Yeah, that's right.
But it just.
Dad was a Mizzou guy. His mother was a mudda. His father was a mudda.
It is just so boring. And I'm going Saturday and Sunday, and at least Ohtani's pitching Saturday.
That's right. Ohtani is.
At least Sunday we get to see what 3 former MVP. Like just that's what you have to talk yourself into now.
Yeah.
You have to talk yourself into. Well, at least I can see the other team, which again is going back to when the Royals were so bad in the 2000s.
Yeah.
When we used to go and we're like, well, at least we get to see Miggy. When my parents used to have the 21 game season tickets, right? And we'd go third base side. You know why?
Bragger. So you could
21,
see
not full game.
Bragger.
21.
Still bragging.
We'd sit third base side so you could see the other team.
Yeah.
And we're getting back to that now. Yeah. That's where the Royals are at. Yes, they have a couple of fun players in Bobby Witt and Cags and the right now I would say the corpse of Salvi, but he's too big to be a corpse. At some point, this team's just boring. And the worst thing you can be for a baseball team is bad and boring. I've said you can be bad and exciting. You can be good and boring.
Yeah.
You can't be bad and boring.
They're 3.5 games out of the wild card, and they have to pass 5 teams to get there.
Tampa's bad and is good and boring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're scoring runs, though. You're winning. It's not as boring.
That's my point. My point is you can be good and boring.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You can't be bad and boring. And right now, this Royals team is bad and boring.
Well, because even if we say Tampa's boring, you still have a guy, in Junior Caminero who is not boring and who, rips the cover off the baseball and, at any given time could, go yard. I mean, he's got 19 home runs. Mm-hmm. Brandon Lowe has 15 home runs. Yander Diaz has 12 home runs.
Aranda's been pretty good
Yeah.
at first base, too.
But I mean, you got 3 guys that have 12 home runs on this team for Tampa. Now, they play in a smaller ballpark, so, we do want to acknowledge that because the Royals play in a park that is impossible to hit home runs.
Impossible, actually. It's
that-
they
that
did
makes
a Mythbusters on it.
That makes sense.
And the Mythbusters
Yeah.
couldn't prove the myth that it's impossible. They said it is impossible.
I do wonder what the home run total would look like for the Royals if they played in a minor league park like the Rays do at home. But the Rays have 3 guys with more home runs than the Royals player with the most home runs, and that's Vinny with 11. So that's what we're watching right now. It's been unfortunate. It's been disappointing is what this season has been. And I don't know that there is a break in the weather anytime soon for this team offensively. Hopefully that's the case. Maybe it starts tonight or this afternoon with Michael Lorenzen on the mound taking on Shane Baz. 4 games under 500. They were 4 games under 500 getting ready for the Texas Rangers. And I didn't think, we didn't ask the question. I wanted to. I would have said no. I would have been wrong. But the question I was going to ask is, does the team get back to 500? This was before the Rangers series. Because it's like, you're already 4 games under 500.
Yeah.
If you go 2-4, now you're 6 games under 500. Can you play 6 games better over 500 the rest of the way just to get back to what would be an 81 pace? You're 4 games under, and your next 4 games are against a team that's beat you twice, number 1 in the wild card, playing some of the best baseball in the Rays, and then the Dodgers.
You're hoping you can go 2-2.
Can you go 2-2?
You're hoping you win tonight and salvage 1 game of the 3-game series, and you hope you take 1 of 3.
Yeah.
And honestly, your best bet might be the Ohtani game because Ohtani's going to probably only pitch an inning or 2.
Yeah.
His first 2 starts, quote unquote, he's been the opener. He's pitched an inning apiece. He's ramping back up. We'll see how long he ends up going.
Yeah.
But again, something to keep in mind. That might be your best chance. Is that game?
Yeah. I mean,
Well, it doesn't really matter because the Dodgers are so injured with their starters, but they put up so many runs that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, maybe desperate times call for desperate measures. Maybe,
Which is what?
I'm just saying, maybe the Dodgers in town, you send the Dodgers a fungo bat and some brand new baseballs and say, we'll take on the contract of Conforto. The 1-year deal you gave him, he's batting 170. He's got a track record of not being a 170 hitter, so maybe you would be betting on him getting back to the back of his baseball card and playing as a 260 hitter, as an outfielder. It was one of their acquisitions was Conforto, a guy that was talked about here in Kansas City as maybe you go out and sign him. Probably going to be too expensive. The Dodgers have a lot of bats, so maybe that's one where they go, oh, yeah, we can afford to move on from Conforto. Just switch dugouts or clubhouses. Conforto, boy, how pissed would he be?
Yeah,
No. I came here with the Dodgers, and I left with the with Ross. Dang it! I think I think though if they're going to make a move early, those are the names you're probably looking at. If they're making a move early, it's probably not Eugenio Suarez. It's probably not that or Taylor Ward or Jesus Sanchez. It's probably a team like the Dodgers that's we're ready to move on from Conforto because we've got other guys in the outfield that can play. And, we'll take whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But again, and maybe Conforto is just Joey Wiemer by a different name. And Wiemer's been absolutely smoking the baseball since he's been back after his rehab assignment.
Is he still? I'm going to look that up because
Since June 10th, he's...
Yeah, he was on an absolute heater when he got called back up. Not called back up, but off of the...
since he's been playing every day.
Yeah.
Since June 10th, he's been playing good baseball. Again, we are looking for answers that are replacement level people. Maybe Cam Devaney. Maybe Joey Wiemer. Nick Lofton looks good. He's changed his approach. Ooh, look what Drew Waters is doing. Michael Massey had 3 hits the other night in his first game in a rehab assignment and a home run. Maybe Michael Massey's going to figure it out in Game 1 in Omaha. That's what you're searching for. You're grasping at straws. And right now, the Royals keep getting the short straw, which is tougher to grasp.
The stirrer sticks.
Well, I
They're
wish
getting the stir. You know how you sometimes get fooled. The stirrer sticks. You think
That's
that's
a
a
good
straw, and then you're like, I can't drink
you're
out
at
of
the
that.
at the bar, like, oh, let me grab this straw. Son of a, it's a stirrer stick. But now you're too embarrassed.
So then
You're
you have
just
to try and put it in
so
your
then
drink.
you just
and
sort of
it's-
like stir it while you walk away. It's like, no, I'm just going to stir up the water. I just wanted the ice cubes to get the water a little colder. I was just going to stir it. No, I don't like drinking out of a straw. Do you? That's weird. Nope, just stirring the water. That's all I'm doing.
Last 28 days for Joey Weimer. 302, 415, 698 slug, OPS in 1.1. Last 7 days have been a struggle. He's batting 105.
That's because he didn't get called up. He's now depressed.
But yeah, I think that'll play.
You know
with by the way, 8 walks, 12 strikeouts.
You know what? Let's see this. You know what?
28 days.
They threw Drew Waters at the wall, and it stuck for a little bit. They've thrown Nick Lofton at the wall. It stuck for a little bit. Let's see if they can throw Devaney or Weimers at the wall and see if that sticks. Just keep throwing stuff against the wall, see if it sticks. The problem is at Kauffman Stadium, they can't hit the ball over the wall. Talk with Kent Swanson coming up at 11 o'clock. Slippy, Slappy, Swanson? Samsonite. Way off. I knew it started with an S, though. I want to call him Kent Slippy Slappy. All right, we're talking with Kent Slappy. Kent Slippy. Kent Samsonite is with us. We'll talk with him coming up at 11 o'clock. We will play some sports or leisure coming up at as well. It'll be clip 2 and 3 that we'll talk about here. I was talking to Drake right there. Sterling, I was telling Drake that. Not you.
I was talking to Kendrick.
Oh. Kendrick.
I said bing, bop, boom, bop, bam.
Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. I get it. So that's cool. You know what all the other teams' offenses are looking at the Royals and saying? They not like us. They are not. By the way, did you see K-Dog's tweet last night?
They say, damn.
They say, darn. You know, we're not Lebo with his potty mouth and his poop mouth this morning.
What did Lebo do?
He had a potty mouth.
Did Lebo say a bad word?
Lebo said a very bad.
Need to talk about it.
Lebo said a bad word.
Which one did it start with? What letters did it start with?
It started with. It's a 4-letter word that started with an S.
Yes.
Lebo said that?
Yes, he was on. I mean, in theory, he was sitting next to Dieter. So I mean, I guess it's just sort of like osmosis.
Wait.
Yes.
He said shin.
Oh my God, dude! But Drake, by the way, did your heart skip a little bit?
To do that.
What? Like your shin?
Yes.
It hurts sometimes.
He was saying that he was working out in the yard. He got those splints. He got them shin splints going
I saw
on.
Drake and Jason's face
Yes.
just absolutely. The fact that you both thought that I would say that
But
is
you said
just,
it like 2 weeks ago about your bleep eating grin, and you said.
Yeah, I did say that.
And you just sat there and didn't realize what you said, and we're like, dude, what? Oh, did I say it?
Yeah, that's
And you
on
were,
me.
You were like, you weren't even playing around. Like you just.
No,
said,
I wasn't playing.
Yeah, no.
Homie, don't play that.
No, you don't. Curtis Seabolt's tweet last night. Since May 23rd, the Savannah Bananas have won as many games at Kauffman Stadium as the Royals. Since May 23rd.
I was at that game.
Were you?
I saw like basically the last win. The Savannah Bananas.
You've seen as many wins at Kauffman Stadium watching the Savannah Bananas as other people have watched Royals wins at Kauffman Stadium since that time. And I don't know, maybe the Royals try Golden at bats. Maybe the Royals bring Hosmer out or Moustakas.
Yeah, they didn't look very good.
Oh, really?
Well, they look good, like physically.
Oh, they didn't look
but
good.
shockingly,
they would kill this offense, wouldn't they? Boy, if you brought Hosmer and Moustakas out, that'd be a real problem for this offense.
No, they just look like John Rave last night.
They would fit in, is what they would do. They would fit right in. They would match everybody else in what they've been doing. So. All right, let's talk about the NBA and the NBA draft last night. Let's get into some things that we saw from the NBA draft. And we said that the draft would probably start around pick 3 because we knew that it was going to be Cooper Flagg and then Dylan Harper. And then we didn't know what would happen at pick number 3. Was it going to be Ace Bailey? Was it going to be VJ Edgecombe? Was it going to be, this player or that player who was going to head to Philadelphia? And we know that it was not Ace Bailey. He ends up in Utah. And the report that came out before, and I thought this was pretty funny, the report that came out before the draft that we saw was Ace Bailey did actually take part in one workout for a team. He did take part in a workout with a team, and it was a team. The person that tweeted it out did not give the actual team and said it's a team in a city that's known to enjoy some jazz. No, he said a city that's enjoying jazz. He didn't say a team name that's the Jazz, because that would be pick number 7, New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah.
Not the Utah Jazz. He said a city that enjoys jazz. So he wants to then manipulate the draft to get down to the one workout he worked out with was a city that enjoys jazz. And he canceled and said no thank you to a workout with the Utah Jazz. And they said, bleep it, we're going to draft him anyway.
Yeah.
And he was upset. He was not happy about being drafted to Utah, Ace Bailey. And he tried to manipulate the draft. Now, you're talking about 2 picks. He would have lost like $3 million total, which seems like a lot. But if you're talking about 41 million as opposed to 38 million,
I'll take either one.
not as actually. You know what? Pick 5 to Utah and pick 7. That's $7 million actually.
That's pretty big.
So he would have lost $7 million. He's getting $41 million on his 4-year deal. He would have got $34 million on his 4-year deal if he went to the New Orleans Pelicans. But for him, I guess it was worth it to not be in Utah and to be there in New Orleans. And just interesting watching his reaction because we talked about the pre-draft process.
Yep.
That different places that he wanted to go to versus different places that he clearly did not want to go to. Utah was a place he did not want to go to. He wanted to go to Washington. He wanted to go to New Orleans, maybe even Brooklyn at number 8. But not Utah at number 5. And you know what? That's what you get. Because maybe if you would have approached it differently, you could be in Philadelphia right now. You could be enjoying the number 3 pick and $50.4 million and playing in Philly as opposed to $9 million less and playing in Utah, where you don't want to be. But that's the risk you take. And he has nobody to blame but himself. He has nobody to blame. And we could say, well, his advisors, but, you hired them.
Yeah.
You can fire them if you feel like they are not doing the correct thing.
And a lot of times you're telling them what you want.
Right. Do you want to go to Utah? No, I don't want to go to Utah. Okay, let's see what we can do to try to get you not in Utah. Let's see what we can do to get you. Where would you like to go? Oh, I don't know. New Orleans, Brooklyn. What about? Would you like to go to Philly? No, they've got star players there. I want to be the man.
I can't stand. I am actively rooting against Ace Bailey. I don't really ever do this. I feel like I'm a pretty nice guy. I don't actively root against anyone outside of maybe Jazz Chisholm.
I agree. I think you are a pretty nice guy. I think in general, you're a pretty nice guy.
It takes a lot for me to be like, nah, I think this guy's kind of a bleep. I don't know the guy personally. Maybe he ends up being a super nice guy and there's a phenomenal reason behind it.
Yeah.
But I hate a guy who's never once played in the NBA, hasn't played a single minute, and he's basically trying to say, no, I'm the man. I want to go to a team where I can be the guy. All of these other NBA players who've grinded and who have been here for years and years and years, they're not worth it. It's me.
Yeah.
I'm the guy.
Well, and I don't know what to expect. Ace Bailey might be amazing. He also might be a guy that is just generic. Like, he's got crazy amount of skills. But I'm going to make an NFL wide receiver comparison here to Ace Bailey. In college, when a wide receiver is coming out and we talk about how often he's making contested catches, there's a pro and a con with that. The pro is, wow, he's got that high point. He's got the ability, the concentration to go through and make the catch through contact. The negative is, well, if he's having to make contested catches in college, how's he going to get open in the NFL? If he's not getting open in college, is he not going to get open in the NFL? And for Ace Bailey, it's like one of the main positives for him is he makes so many tough guarded shots, which is a positive. The negative would be, why is he having to take so many guarded shots? Why is he having to take so many tough guarded shots?
I think he tries to, man. I think part of his thing is he almost enjoys, and I'm wrong, but he is athletic enough, he's talented enough, he can blow by some guys, he can make a shot easier here and there. But I think it's one of those situations where he likes getting into a rhythm. It is a little bit like Melo. I mean, I think Melo at times too, where he just knows he can make the contested shot, and you almost just do it.
Well, I think there's an element of Kobe, and I'm not saying Ace Bailey is Kobe.
Yes.
But one of the things that was amazing about Kobe is Kobe could make some of the most difficult shots you've seen. The difference is he didn't have to take 20 difficult shots to make 3 of them. Like, the highlights for Ace Bailey can be off the charts because you're watching some of these difficult shots. But the course of a game, you're also watching him miss 5 or 6 terrible shots.
Yeah.
Like, why are you taking that shot?
In the NBA, with some veterans around there, that's not going to fly.
Yeah. Right. Why are you're a high volume, tough shot shooter / maker, but a low percentage of those shots are going in. And you've got the number 2 pick and the number 5 pick in the draft on Rutgers, but you didn't make the NCAA tournament.
Correct.
Because, one, defensively, they were god-awful. They could not defensive rebound whatsoever. So not only were they bad defensively, but they kept giving extra possession after extra possession. And then you got some, one-on-ones going on. with Rutgers. You got some guys that are, are we playing to win or are we playing to drop 39? It could be both. I'm playing to win, so I think I'm going to be the one that knocks down these shots. The flip side of that is VJ Edgecombe. That's heading to Philadelphia. And you were a little trepidatious about VJ Edgecombe heading to the 76ers and what he could be and what the potential for him is as a player there in Philly. I think immediately he's a stud defensive player
Yes.
in the NBA. I think that's the baseline for him.
Correct.
I think the ceiling is a guy that could be somewhat Tyrese Maxey, that can score and create and knock down shots somewhat.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey, a much better offensive, skilled, developed player. He's been in the NBA, longer, obviously. But what I loved about VJ Edgecombe, if you didn't hear this last night, so we're talking about Ace Bailey being pissed about going to Utah. Here's VJ Edgecombe in an emotional interview after he was drafted number 3, talking about his upbringing and his mom.
You said you saw the emotions on your mom's face. Yeah. What were the moments you remember most about just the way your mom poured into you throughout your life and your career?
Man, them long nights, I'm telling you, I lived off a generator. I ain't had no electricity. I lived off a generator for 7 years. Man, seeing what she had to go through to feed us, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, but I don't even know, man. My mind everywhere right now, man.
You hear that from VJ Edgecombe. You hear that about the appreciation of where he is, that this guy is signing a $50 million contract. 1 year at Baylor, and a guy who didn't have electricity growing up.
Yeah. Thinking
about what his mom had to do just to put food on the table for them to, to grow and to survive. And now generational wealth for the Edgecombes and the family. And that gratitude, appreciation towards what his mom did to be able to do that and to be in the position he is. And then 2 picks later, you've got spoiled Ace Bailey that's pissed off because he's drafted number 5 to a city he didn't really want to go to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I'll say this. I've got a better feeling about what VJ Edgecombe can turn into. I think there's a better chance of VJ Edgecombe hitting his ceiling. Ace Bailey might be a better basketball player than VJ Edgecombe in their career.
Sure.
But I feel better about Edgecombe hitting his ceiling than Ace Bailey hitting a ceiling.
Michael Beasley is one of the greatest basketball players, greatest dudes who's ever touched a basketball in his life.
One of the greatest college basketball seasons.
Well, and even in the NBA, I mean that dude. But it was the attitude. I mean, at some point there are veterans, and if you're on a somewhat even trying to win, it ain't gonna fly. Mm-hmm. And it's not a shot at Michael Beasley because there's a lot of things there.
I think there was some maturity issues with Michael Beasley, and not like he was, like, I think maturity issues in that he probably should have stayed in college a couple of more years to still have his coming of age and understand and get maybe more ready for the professional game. And he's talked about that, too. If he could do it over again, he'd stay at Kansas State. But he had no choice. It's one of those to where, man, you might be the number 1 pick in the draft. You got to go, dude.
And Ace Bailey's kind of the same situation as well, right? Where it's why would you probably need to stay just to get the maturity, but why would you?
Yeah, you're that talented.
Yeah, you're going to be a top 10 draft pick. You're going to take the money. Like it's smart. Mm-hmm. What happens if you get injured? All that stuff. So either way, I think that VJ Edgecombe, one, phenomenal. That's just a very, very cool conversation he had after being drafted. 2, I think he fits in well with the Sixers as far as with him and Tyrese Maxey. You let Maxey be the offensive focal point. Defensively, you can guard the best guard on the court.
Right.
So that allows Maxey almost to the SGA thing in OKC, where it's just too difficult to play both at that high a level. It's nearly impossible just energy-wise and for 82 games. I still really like Jared McCain, so we'll see. Maybe he turns into a 6-man. Maybe they start 3 guards. Maybe Paul George moves to the 4 if he stays.
Or maybe he just moves.
Or they just move on. I know there's a big talk about him being traded. The number 3 pick and Paul George being traded during the draft, but that didn't happen, didn't transpire. I would have been also okay with Con Knippel, who ended up going 4 overall because I think he's a good 3-and-D guy and more
fun name.
And more athletic than I think people give credit for. But VJ Edgecombe,
I don't think give him as much credit for his athleticism.
Yeah, I wonder why.
He's just a gym rat. He's such a cerebral player. Like, he's so smart. Like, he's so smart.
But-
what a good player.
But I will say
With
this
a fun
for
last
the
name.
Sixers, I like the thought process of at least getting a phenomenal floor defensive player in VJ Edgecombe. And we've seen guys, not with the Sixers, but guys who come to the NBA and they develop a jump shot. If VJ Edgecombe can develop more of a consistent playmaking ability and shooting the three, he can be a really, really good piece on that team.
And by the way, the Eastern Conference seems like it's pretty wide open.
Yes.
With the Celtics and the Pacers.
I'm sorry, I don't think the Knicks are that good. It's not a shot at New York, but I mean, of course, like taking shots at New York. But the fact they went as far as they did is surprising because I don't think that was a very good team.
Unless they go get Giannis or something and make a big splash, then it might change some things. We'll see. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I'm wearing a hat today, but I am so freaking tired of hats. And it's just last night again, the hats. It's killing me. But I woke up and put a hat on today. Maybe it was just out of instinct because I had hats on my mind last night. More Zone next. You know, the summer's here. The weather is heating up. It's pretty hot right now. Maybe you're going on vacations. Maybe you're enjoying the beach. Maybe some cookouts, some grilling out, maybe some barbecues, things like that. Or maybe just getting work done outside in the yard. All of those things are going on with me, except for the vacations and the grilling out and the beach and all of that stuff. But definitely the yard work. Definitely doing things outside around the house, building some stairs for the deck right now, doing a lot of digging and things like that. And thankfully, Heartland Men's Health has helped me with the testosterone level that I did not know what the testosterone level was for me, but I knew I had some of the symptoms that went along with the low testosterone, whether that be the energy levels or brain fog, sometimes even just motivation to get out and do the things. And it's difficult to have any motivation in this heat to go and have the energy to go and get stuff done. But if you are missing a gear lately, it might be because of low testosterone. So check it out at Heartland Men's Health. You can go to heartlandmenshealth.com, take the low T quiz on the website, simple 10-question quiz, yes, no answers, takes just a couple of minutes, and you realize that guys in their early to mid-30s start losing 2 to 3% of their testosterone production every year. If you're curious about what your testosterone production is, well then schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. They'll do your lab work, have your results within 30 minutes. A licensed medical provider will review your results with you, discuss your options with you, help you make the decision together with the medical team. Cost of the appointment is only $99, and that includes medical consult, T, and that PSA test. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Heartland Men's Health, successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. Do not wait any longer. They've got 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and the new office in North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. playing for Charlotte. We all know where they're going. The biggest moment in the players' lives. And they walk out there and they wear different hats than the team they're actually playing for.
Yeah.
We all know where they're going. Why do this? Oh, well, this trade's going to be finalized at a later date. Well, what's the date right now, and who's that guy going to be playing for? What's the rookie? Who's he going to sign his contract with? Maluach is going to sign his contract with the Phoenix Suns. Yet he's walking around with a Houston Rockets hat on. It would make more sense if he had a Houston Astros hat on than a Houston Rockets hat. At least the Astros, you might go, oh, kind of a fan of the Astros. That's pretty cool. Not, do you play for the Rockets? No, I don't. I play for the Phoenix Suns. And I don't know, just at some point, we've got to fix that.
Yeah.
Just put the dang hat on the dude that he's playing for.
From picks 10 to the end, it's just trade central.
Yeah.
It's just trade central.
There were 10 different players from 10 to 29 that did their interview wearing a hat that they were not playing for.
By the way, I can't wait for Walter Clayton to be a better player for Utah than Ace Bailey. It's going to be great.
You got a guy that probably is a little more grounded, more motivated, has a young daughter, started at Iona with Rick Pitino before going to Florida. So you've got that too. And you've got guys like, Maluach.
Yeah.
Who, what did he say? Oh, man, what was the word that he used to describe his life and his dreams? Gosh, it wasn't naive. It was a great line as to what he said about himself. I'll think of it at some other point, maybe a couple of weeks from now. I'm not sure. Delusional. That's what he said. My delusional. Be delusional. I think delusional was the word he said. Be delusional about your dreams. Because a kid who didn't start playing basketball till he was 13 in Africa, that he's going to be 6 years later drafted, the top 10 pick heading to the Phoenix Suns, that's delusional. If you'd have told somebody that was the case, that's delusional. And yet that's what he believed and dreamed, that he could be that one day. And he makes it happen. And he gets drafted. And it's an awesome story. I mean, Danny Wolf would have loved to have been drafted in Ace Bailey's spot. Would have loved to have gone number 5 because he wouldn't have had to sit there all night and then finally get the huge ovation from the crowd as, Danny Wolf, gets drafted by Brooklyn. And, by the way, his brother was a cool scene. How his brother was just like inconsolable, just bubbling over with crying, like the ugly cry face, like a Julia Roberts ugly cry face, to where like the lips were like, it was really cool to see like that love for his brother, seeing his dream. I also liked how when they asked his mom about, Danny Wolf and, his, life and journey, and his mom was like, he's worked so hard, and this is where he wanted to go, to be in New York. And he goes, Brooklyn. He goes, Brooklyn. I'm like, well, Danny, you know where Brooklyn is, right?
It's a borough. It's confusing.
But
yeah.
It's in New York. It's the state. Like if he got drafted by Golden State and she said it's really cool that he's in California. Golden State. Well, it's California. That's where he's at. It's not the Lakers. It's not the Knicks. She might have meant. Or maybe she actually just slipped up and was like, no, he actually wanted to go to the Knicks. It's where he wanted to be a Knick, and he ended up in Brooklyn. But you know what? You're in New York. Ain't nothing wrong with that,
I do think the most Miami pick of all time was getting Kasparis, the Illinois guard.
Oh, Yakashonis?
Yeah. I mean,
I love him, dude. He's a
you're
freaking
telling me
baller.
that guy is not going to be a stud? I mean, just the Tyler Hero, just a guy who can make all the difficult shots. I feel like he's going to be a stud with the Heat.
Yakashonis can dribble. He defends. He passes. He shoots. He's got vision. Like, I couldn't believe he lasted to 20.
Shocking.
That was crazy.
I still remember that shot against Mizzou. That game winner he hit.
Unfortunately. Liam McNeely was a cool story. Oh, that Hanson Yang hanging out in the crowd was pretty awesome, too. You're not invited. I'm still going. Ken Swanson coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes heading up until 2 o'clock. Sports or Leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Let's talk some Kansas City Chiefs, and we talk with our man Ken Swanson, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast, joining us here in the zone. Kent, what's up, brother? How are you, sir?
Man, doing great. Enjoying the summer, enjoying baseball, getting. Jason, I've seen you out there with your kids playing a little ball. We're doing the same right now. It's the best, man. It's the best time of the year.
It is so much more fun than I thought it would be. I was excited for it. You know, growing up watching my nephew go through it and everything with my brother, and now getting to experience it myself. It is really cool. How's the little man's team doing?
Hey, we're doing all right. We're in the final season or end of season tournament right now. So big game today,
Yes.
And then if we take care of business, we're playing on Saturday. So it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. Love that. So best of luck to your kid, and hopefully they come through. And if not, are they walking home? Right? I mean, they don't get to ride home if they lose.
No, yeah, and ice cream's only for winners too.
Yes,
So.
I mean, right? Ice cream is for winners. You know what I found out in today's Little League? You know, back in the day when I played at 3 and 2, on the east side of the state line. When the game was over, we got like a little ticket thing, and we'd be able to go up to the concessions and get like a hot dog and a drink after every single game. And now it's like you can do that, but they're just going to charge you $10 for it.
I think you're lucky if concessions is open all the time too.
That's a good point.
You know, I mean, there's been some games we're lucky to have 2 umpires.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true. We had a game a couple of weekends ago where the head coach was just riding the umpires the entire game, and then after the game is over, he's yelling at the tournament director and everything about how, you know, umpire this and umpire that, and you were talking about how maybe you wouldn't have a game because of umpires. Like, how does that happen? And I wanted to be like, because of you. You're the reason why they're having trouble finding umpires, guy. You're the reason. So thought that was a little irony there. After yelling at the umpires. So, yeah, hopefully you've got 2. If not, let me know. I'll come out there, and I'll make sure it's a wide strike zone for you guys when you're in the field, and I'll go ahead and squeeze that thing when you guys are up at the plate. I'll do it for you.
That sounds like a league integrity issue we got here, Jason. I don't know.
What?
I don't know if I'm willing to do that here.
What? They don't have to know. It's just between me and you, man. It's just between me and you. Kent Swanson is our guest, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. All right, let's talk about, this mini camp is over. OTAs are over. We're waiting for, less than a month now for training camp to get underway. And I would say the biggest development over the mini camp and OTAs, I mean, we have different storylines that come out every year, but Kent, was there a bigger development for you than watching the health status of Josh Simmons continually be ahead of schedule, or what it seemed like ahead of schedule, and then to hear Andy Reid say that he's going to be a full participant day 1 of training camp? Is that the biggest development takeaway from OTAs or mini camp, or is there something else for you?
Oh, I think it's easily that. And I mean, there didn't seem like to be a ton of storylines popping out of training or out of minicamp this year. But if you were going to get reports back on one thing, it would be Josh Simmons being ahead of schedule. That is such a huge development for this team. I think I even read, I think Tyshawn might have even mentioned that, he got reps with the first team at the left tackle spot as well in one of his, final articles, I think. But, that's such a huge development for this team. That is, if he is able to be out there for the entirety of training camp, if he's able to be full contact, when the pads come on for the whole team, that is just that could not be a bigger deal. Because I mean, candidly, I think Josh Simmons has the talent and ability to beat out Jalen Moore immediately. That's how good of a football player Josh Simmons is, and the Chiefs are lucky to have a player of his talent. And they played this game right. If this does pan out, that he's able to play so quickly, because tackles like Josh Simmons just rarely wind up there at the end of the first round, and this would be just a tremendous coup for the Chiefs.
What would it mean then this year? I mean, this is a broader question for you, but what would it mean this year if Josh Simmons is healthy and goes out there in Brazil in week number 1 against the Chargers and is the starting left tackle? What do you think that means for this franchise and this team? And maybe this year versus, a couple of ways of looking at it, this year specifically, and then bigger picture of franchise sort of looking at it that way.
So if you go back and watch last year's tape, and I think winning cures all, and sure, the tackle position was always going to be a question, but you just don't realize how bad it truly was last season. Until you go back and watch it into the context of, they went 15-1 during the regular season, but things didn't pan out at the end because they couldn't block. And watching so many of those games and opportunities missed last season with the offensive line, with the tackle spot specifically over there, you see how this offense could just become that much more potent with the same essential skill sets or skill group. With that same skill group, if they just had better time, I think, they would have made some more plays. And I think that's what you're going to see. I think, they're basically running it back with the offense outside of offensive line. And having a little bit more time over there at the tackle spot could be just huge for this team kind of getting back on track. And then, long term, I made the comment, I think, the day of the draft when they took Simmons, I said, this is probably, this guy has a chance to be the last left tackle of Patrick Mahomes' career. This is a guy that has the ability to be a 10, 12-year starter. And if you're doing the math there, that would take Patrick Mahomes into his 40s. These are the kind of players that you don't let walk out the door, which is why the Chiefs never have the ability to sign one of these tackles in free agency. They don't let you don't let a left tackle, a capable left tackle, walk. And I think Josh Simmons has a chance to be that for the next 10 to 12 years.
Yeah, it's hard not to get overly excited and maybe trying to temper yourself when, we hear the things that people talk about in the pre-draft lead-up, and it was all about the injury. But if healthy, man, he's a top 10 tackle, and you just don't get a chance to take those guys at 31 or 32. And we see, the players talk about him. And then we hear Jason Kelce say that, he's as close to a Trent Williams that he has seen. And it's like, come on, man. Like, how I'm trying, right? I'm out here doing my part, Jason, that I am trying to not get out over my skis with Josh Simmons. And then he's got to go and say something like that when talking to Trey Smith. And that's just not fair, because how am I supposed to then continue to temper my enthusiasm when I hear a Hall of Famer and an offensive line that, we also mentioned Jason Peters, when a guy's, been around some of the best left tackles and offensive linemen, and he looks at him and sees that. Like, how am I supposed to now not be overly excited because of that? I blame Jason Kelce if my heart is broken.
We all should, because I've been in the same boat, really trying to temper my expectations. And I've been trying to temper them all the way through, even during the draft process. It's really good player, best tackle tape possibly in this entire draft. If he gets to 32, there's reasons that he gets there, and it's because the medicals are just giving people that much pause. And it's even from like the draft, like I was excited about the swing, but it definitely felt like a very calculated risk. And to see him essentially, walking into St. Joe without, any even, hint that he had that injury is just remarkable. And it would be just one of the probably most annoying things for the National Football League if the Chiefs were able to finally fix that problem that has ailed them the last few years and, has only kept them from winning 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls, going 15-1 last year, winning the AFC, and falling just short of a three-peat.
Yeah, we know for a fact that Patrick Mahomes, the next time he plays in a Super Bowl, will have yet another left tackle that will be starting for Patrick Mahomes. He is 5 for 5 in having left tackles in the Super Bowl, different left tackles. And so he will be 6 for 6 when he goes back to a Super Bowl as well. But this seems like maybe there's a chance that could be solved moving forward if that's the case. And I remember in 2020 when the Chiefs took Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and there was, we can look back and try to play the revisionist history. There were a good portion of people nationally that were like, wow, now the Chiefs have this guy. I remember one of my buddies that, covers a team, and he tweeted out, not to me, just tweeted out and said, the National Football League is going to regret that they let Clyde Edwards-Helaire get to the Chiefs. That was the feeling at that time of what he could do for this team. I think more realistically, this is the one that we'll be talking about is, how did this guy make it? We'll look back and say, well, it was the injuries and everything like that. But what did the Chiefs see injury-wise or health-wise, surgery, recovery, rehab-wise, that they would spend a first-round draft pick on him, and other teams, knowing that his tape might have been the best tackle in the draft, decided to pass on him? More conservative. Chiefs were in a position to make that. Other teams were looking for floor as opposed to ceiling. But this could be one of those to where we look back and say some of the best value we've seen at a left tackle, because you just don't get a guy of that caliber outside of the top 10. It does depend on health, but it looks like right now all indications are the Chiefs might have gotten one of the better steals in the draft since, Trey Smith in the 6th round.
Absolutely. And I do think, I think there's two, thoughts just kind of around that. One, so like I look at, there's a huge gap in tackles being selected between 9 and 29 in this draft. And Josh Connerly went off the board to the Washington Commanders. And they had just, acquired Laramie Tunsil. So I do wonder if, that there were just like whispers of Josh Simmons, some work ethic concerns and those kind of things that kind of got spilled out there late during the draft process. And if they were, working through those, maybe maybe if Josh Simmons didn't have some of that, maybe he's a Washington Commander instead of Josh Connerly. But I think Laramie Tunsil had some issues in the locker room in Houston, and so maybe there was, a cultural decision there based on that information, right? So like that could have seen Josh Simmons fly up the board a little bit more, or maybe he goes in that 9 to 29 gap. But I do think there is one thing that is also worth, kind of mentioning is when you're looking at the risk assessment of Josh Simmons, there's that 80% or 50-50 that they come back to to what they've been within a year, and there's all these numbers with concern about the patellar tendon. The Chiefs got to make the decision on Josh Simmons whether or not they wanted to invest in him post-injury. And some teams, with the hit rate or the success rate, it might be something that you've already acquired, and then you're kind of at the mercy of the injury. The Chiefs got to make that decision on that injury, halfway through the process. And I think that does give me confidence, especially seeing what's happened since then, that they felt comfortable and confident, in the medical assessment. I think they've been sandbagging us a little bit. I think they've expected this to be a little bit more of a realistic scenario than it's been this whole time.
Well, and that's what's interesting about hearing from Andy Reid, because we hear Andy Reid say, on draft night that, oh, yeah, he'll be good to go for camp. And then Brett Veach is like, let's dial that back a little bit. Okay, we'll see. There's a long road between now and training camp. Typically, isn't it not necessarily the exact opposite? I'm not saying Brett Veach is the one that's, blowing sunshine, but Andy Reid's typically a guy that's more conservative in his assessment of whether or not guys are going to be ready to go. It's typically like, we'll see. We'll take it day by day, and we'll see how he looks today. And then the next day is, he did some stuff. We'll see how he looks today, and never sort of that overly confident, like, he's going to be good. Almost like in to a degree, a dismissive fashion from Andy Reid. Like, he's going to be fine. Yeah, he's going to be good for training camp. Yeah, he'll be fine. Doesn't need to elaborate or expand on that, just that he's good to go. Typically, he's a little more tempered and a little more conservative in his assessment of how a player's health will look, especially a month from now. And he's been steadfast since draft night that he's going to be good go for training camp.
And also one of the things that he's done, I felt, just listening to some of his clips, is I think he's done a really good job of trying to remove, some of the negative things that came out about Josh Simmons reportedly, with work ethic, with teammate, being a good teammate, all that kind of stuff. And he's been very intentional, in my opinion, about kind of trying to remove that stamp, that opinion from, the Josh Simmons conversation, because he's come out and talked about how committed, how professional Josh Simmons has been since he's got here. I think that was very intentional too, because there were these little rumors out here pre-draft. So hearing that from him, and then hearing about the progress and the confidence in him, it's really hard not to get too excited about the outlook of the Chiefs having that thing solved.
Kent Swanson is our guest, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. What do you make, just briefly before we get into what you wrote at KCSN about moves that could be made before the camp starts, and maybe some free agent acquisitions or those that are out there that might make a little sense? Do you draw anything or look anything deeper into Andy Reid canceling the sort of rookie injury quarterback portion those 3 days before training camp officially gets underway on July 22nd, reporting the 21st, practice the 22nd. But, they always had that 3 or 4 day ramp up with the new guys. Anything to take away from that in your mind, read into what Andy Reid has done in canceling that?
My opinion, I don't think it really has that much to do with the rookie class as much as it has to do with this team's tired. This team has played the maximum amount of football for 3 straight seasons, and it's a veteran team with a lot of players that probably, and a quarterback that needs a little bit of time. I think this is a little bit more Mahomes driven than it is rookie driven, my opinion. Just because, think about how much football they've played and what they've put themselves through over the last few years. I think it's just to help them just get a little bit extra. Give Mahomes an extra week. Give the quarterbacks an extra week. Give a few of these players just a little bit more time to get back. So I think that's what drives it more than maybe than the rookie side of things. So I think it's a good move to try to keep this group fresh because they have been through a lot of different things, and I know it's primarily to help the rookies get acclimated, but I don't think Mahomes wants to miss that, and I think he probably wants to be there, but I don't think they want to start things without him either. So I think that's kind of what's driving it more than the rookies.
Yeah, and we see other guys show up early too sometimes. It's not just the rookies get there and the injured guys and the quarterbacks. We see other veterans show up just to, get things started. They get a little antsy. And I do wonder how much it might also be what, coaches, you guys have been grinding too. There's no reason to be here a few days early and staying in the dorms and everything and being out there in practice and stuff like that. Let's chill. And Patrick, you know what? I know you're going to be here and put everything into it. Take a few more days off. Just as we, get reset for this upcoming season. And I think there's an element of, one, who are the injured players that would be there early? I mean, Rashee Rice and Josh Simmons, those guys practiced. So who would be the guys that are going through rehab and showing up early for those days? And how much are rookies going to be relied upon this year? Like, if this was 2022, I'd say you'd probably have to have that rookie camp for those 3 or 4 days because you've got a lot of rookies that are going to make an impact or have to make an impact. This year, I think roster construction and health-wise, and maybe from just an exhaustion standpoint, it really makes sense to just say, what, let's 86 that thing, and everybody shows up and gets ready for July 22nd, and we go from there.
Yeah, I think that's, you're right. Like there's some players that you're probably not going to see in that rookie class, they're going to have some, we'll call it, time, some runway to be able to kind of develop. Like Noel Williams, I don't know how much we'll see of Noel Williams this year at the outside corner. And I think, Gelati and Norman Lott certainly will have a role, but he's probably not a starter workload, right? So, this team is very veteran laden, and I do think that drives a little bit of the decision making process on all this, and I think it's good. Honestly, you don't want this team burning out, and especially coming off of a loss, like giving them a little bit of time, I think is a good thing.
Visiting with Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. All right, you wrote about it at KCSN, moves and different free agents that might be out there. Do you think there is one, maybe if there's a name, but maybe even a positional group that if it becomes available, if a veteran gets released or something like that? We saw, Samaje Perine and Juju Smith-Schuster, guys that the Chiefs go to camp without on their roster that end up playing roles on this team and, somewhat significant roles on this team. Are there names out there or maybe a positional group you might be looking at if names appear on the free agent list?
Yeah, I think the one I probably pay the most attention to is safety, and I think there's a couple other places that you could look at this team addressing for sure, but safety pops out as one that there's not a ton of star power. There is the potential for star power with Jaden Hicks, I think. But this is a group that lost Justin Reed, are basically expecting Jaden Hicks to replace most of what Justin Reed provided in the with him and maybe in the aggregate with with Mike Edwards and maybe even a little bit of Shamari Connor. But I wouldn't hate to see this team go grab an additional veteran at the safety spot just to kind of solidify that group. And there's a pretty good one out there still. For some reason, in Julian Blackman, who played for the Colts the last few years. I think he's a really good scheme fit for what Steve Spagnuolo wants to do. And so if I'm looking at safety, there's a free agent still out there. And if there's veterans that get cut, I wouldn't hate to see, an additional veteran kind of introduced into that room just to raise the floor a little bit and maybe give them, more viable options as a starter.
All right, last one for you, Kent. Kent Swanson, KC Laboratory Podcast. The next time we talk will be right before the deadline, so we'll get a little bit more into this, and maybe we'll have more information at that time. But if you're guessing right now on June 26th, Trey Smith, long-term deal done with this team, playing on the franchise tag. What's your prediction as to what they get done with Trey Smith or don't get done?
I think they get a deal done with Trey Smith. I think it's a market-setting deal, so I think he gets over the $21 million APY that Landon Dickerson just got. I think they intend to keep him here, and I think they get something done before training camp.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, then, man, they really need to hit on Josh Simmons. They need Kingsley to play well at left guard, and they need Jalen Moore to be a good right tackle after this year when they move on from Jawan Taylor, so that they can not have high-paid players at 5 different positions if you've got the highest-paid center and the highest-paid guard in the NFL. You can do that if you've got a rookie left tackle, a rookie deal, or at least a rookie contract left tackle, a rookie contract left guard, and an affordable right tackle considering the cap situation. And if he's good, then maybe you extend Jalen Moore and you lower that cap number, and it's a more affordable offensive line across the board, and maybe even a better offensive line and more affordable than what it's been in certain years. So we'll see what happens with that. Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Kent, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother. We'll catch up in a couple of weeks. Good luck to little man in his game today and the game this weekend. If you need help with somebody to help out, whether it be in the field and give you guys some calls, or behind the plate and give you guys some calls, just let me know, man. I'm willing to do what I can.
Yeah, check's in the mail, buddy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I need the money, man. Come on, I need the cash. Kent, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother.
All right, man. Later.
All right, there's Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. I would never do that. I would be totally honest. I would be sincere. I would call it exactly how it's supposed to be. It wouldn't matter which team that I may want or not want to win. But let me tell you, I ain't taking no bleep from any coaches. All right, you're getting tossed. You're getting run quickly. That coaches meeting out at home plate, let you know. I'll give you one, coach. I'll give you one. You can argue a little bit. I'll give you one. But on that second one, you got to go. Head coach, you got to go. And if it's Kent, it's Kent. I'm sorry. You can chirp a little bit, Kent, but you continue at it. I'm going to have to run you, man. I'm going to have to run you. We'll see. Good luck to his team, though, for real, as hopefully they get things done today and then play for a championship coming up this weekend. Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast, Sports or Leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. We continue rolling along. More Zone right after this. World Baseball Classic?
55 minutes ago.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes. The Drake. Hanging out with us. Right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. So we have some news about Team USA. The World Baseball Classic. You know, we talked about, was it a couple of weeks ago, that Carlos Beltran, who is the GM of the Puerto Rican national team, he came out and said who his number one recruit was, that he was going to make the biggest play for and spend the time and the resources to try to get this player to play for Puerto Rico. And that was Jack Caglione. And Cags could play for Team Italy, Team Puerto Rico, or the United States. We do know somebody that is now playing for the United States, played for him last time, but didn't play much. And that is one Robert Witt Jr. has officially announced that he will be playing in the World Baseball Classic in 2026 with Team USA. I'm going to go ahead and guess that Vinny will be playing with Team Italia. But where's Jack going to play? Because I assumed Bobby was going to play with Team USA.
Sure.
Unless he wanted to then, not take the time through the World Baseball Classic and spend time at spring training, right? We talk about, how much development are you getting? Brady Singer was really set back because he played with Team USA and he didn't get those innings and those reps. Bobby's going to be your starting shortstop. Was it Seager last time?
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner?
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, Trey Turner.
They're interchangeable. Seager, Turner, they're the same guy.
Very different players.
Never seen them in the same place at the same time.
One bat's left, one's right, one's better defensively. Seager, one is more of a power bat. Seager, one is very, very fast, and one's very, very slow.
Like I said, they're the same person. I feel like they're the exact same person, Trey Turner and Corey Seager. So Trey Turner at shortstop, it's going to be Bobby Witt, who, man, he may not even be starting in an all-star game before he starts at shortstop for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic.
And by the way, didn't Turner and Seager also play on the same team? So we did see them together. I think they did with the Dodgers. And then there was a crossover.
I've never seen them at the same time in the same place ever. Because you've got a couple of American baseball players that could play for Team America that would start at shortstop in the all-star game over Bobby Witt. You had Gunnar last year.
Yeah.
And now Jack Wilson is extending his lead over Bobby Witt. It was like 100,000 or something, or 50,000, the difference. Now it's like 300,000, the difference with Jack Wilson and Bobby Witt in the votes for the starting shortstop in the American League. So that's going to be disappointing. If you've got, it feels a little bit like we know what Bobby can do, but this is a fun story.
In fairness, Jacob Wilson's hitting 347.
Did I say Jack Wilson?
You did, so I'm not trying to.
Jack Wilson's son. Jack Wilsonson.
Hitting 347.
Like Al Leiterson, who pitches for the Rangers. Al Leiterson.
We know Bobby Witt Jr.'s better overall, of course, but when a dude's batting 347 and has one fewer home run,
I agree.
I don't hate.
No, I don't either. But here's my point about, okay, well then what about last year? Why wasn't Bobby the starting shortstop last year?
Agreed, it's dumb. That's dumb.
So last year it's this is the cool, fun shortstop in Gunnar Henderson, so he's going to be voted in even though Bobby's having a better season. Bobby finishes second in the American League MVP this year. Yeah, but Jacob Wilson is having a better season than Bobby, so therefore he should be the starting shortstop.
And I don't think it's a better season. It's just he's had a better hitting season. If you look at WAR, it's Bobby Witt. Defensively, it's Bobby Witt. Stolen bases, it's Bobby Witt. But
All-Star game's not about defense.
Yeah, it's about
offense. If it was about defense, Jack Caglione would be starting right field, right?
Another nice play last night, actually.
I mean, people have asked the question, is he the greatest right fielder in the history of the game? They're asking the question. I'm just saying I think it does need to be discussed. Not here, not now, but there will come a time when we do have to discuss, is Jack Caglione the greatest defensive right fielder in the history of the game?
By the way, why have we not – I know it's Bobby Baseball, and we've talked about, I almost did something. I almost did what you did. Not going to do that. His initials. His real initials, though, are Raw.
Right.
Robert Andrew Witt. So Raw Jr. is – badass. Why have we not just called Bobby Jr. Raw?
Because he's not raw. He's polished, man. I mean, he was raw maybe when they drafted him, but he's not raw anymore.
Yeah,
that's a polished shortstop. That's a Hall of Fame caliber trajectory that he is on right now.
I just
And,
feel like
he'll
we're
be playing with Team USA.
That's a missed opportunity to go with a really cool initials.
You didn't
Raw,
want to go
dude.
BBW?
What's that now?
You didn't want to go BBW, Bobby Baseball?
Wit?
Wit? Yeah,
I don't
Bobby
think
Baseball
the
Wit.
interns seem confused right now. I don't think they know
It's
what
his
that.
initials.
I think Emmy knows.
If his middle name is Baseball,
I
if his
think
name
he-
is Bobby Baseball Witt, then that would be his initials. I'm just saying, or I guess it'd be Bobby is Robert. Okay, so it'd be RBW. Okay, that's fine. That's different.
Yeah. By the way, E5, if you've ever seen him eat a banana, it is a
Oh, yeah.
terrifying
So-
experience.
So
It
we-
is.
So we've got an intern here, E5, who played third base in college at his previous stop before heading to Mizzou. So I'm not sure why we call him E5. But there was an error made earlier today, and this is apparently a consistent error that he makes. I was alerted to this, right? I'm running downstairs. I'm getting some things for Sports or Leisure, the sports questions printed off and everything. You got a very short break between Kent and then our next segment. So I had just a little bit amount of time to run downstairs and run back up. And I come back up here, and you show me a picture of E5.
Can't even tweet the picture out. It's too alarming. I
Yes.
was.
So this guy, this is sociopathic. I think this is like sociopathic tendency. He peels the entire banana and holds said peeled banana in his hand to eat it. Instead of eating it while peeling it,
Yeah.
you peel a little, you eat it, you peel a little, you eat it, so you don't actually have to hold the banana in your hand for twofold. One, you keep the bacteria off the banana. Two, then you get the banana on your hand and you got to go wash your hands. And,
Yeah.
So now you're washing your hands twice, because if you're going to hold the banana in your hand, you should probably wash your hands. After holding the banana in your hand, then you got to go and wash your hands, as opposed to, I don't know, neither peeling it and eating it. It's sociopathic behavior to peel an entire banana, hold it, and eat it.
Imagine you walk in and you see an intern, full banana in hand,
Right.
hands wrapped around the banana,
Fully peeled banana in hand.
fully peeled banana in hand.
Yes.
And I was shocked, perplexed, confused,
Scared.
scared,
Yeah.
angry for some reason as well. Anger bubbled over.
I can't mark these cuts fast enough. Slow down.
A hint of anger. I do.
I don't know what you're talking about, Drake. I have no idea what you're even insinuating back there.
There was a tinge of anger that came through when you showed me the picture. Look at this. No. Look at this. And you threw something against the wall. I thought that was odd. Maybe that's
It was
more
the
than a
peel of the
tinge.
banana.
More than a tinge of, well, he threw it on the floor and somebody slipped on it. It was like Mario Kart.
I mean,
You know?
are you doing Mario Kart? Like when you drive,
He was
do you
trying to
peel
get-
the full
No.
banana, throw it out, and try to have a car slip as you just...
O'Doyle rules. You know what? We could have called him O'Doyle if it wasn't already for E5. No, see, E5 and Emmy were making their way here into the studio. He peeled the entire banana, left it behind him. Emmy slips and falls, so E5 gets to hang out in the studio here. That's what it was. It's strategery for E5.
Have
But
you
it's also
always done
sociopathic
that?
behavior.
Is that a thing that you have always done?
Yeah. I feel like starting in school, like, I don't know. I feel like it's a waste of time. I don't want to be having to peel or, like, get up in the middle of a lecture. Like, oh, guys, let me just drop off my banana peel in the middle of, a 300-person lecture hall.
So then you're dropping off before you go in and just walking in banana in hand? You're not making your case, my guy. You're
Honestly,
making
I
it
don't really
seem
care.
weirder.
Hey, if I'm the weird guy in the back of class taking notes with a full banana in hand, like, I feel like I could
Put your
be-
banana away, man.
Yeah,
I feel like there could be a lot weirder things to do in a 300-person lecture hall.
I don't know. I
I'm
can't
not
think of
sure.
one. I can't think of
Weirder.
one. I cannot think of one.
No, seriously, if I see somebody walking around like that, I'm concerned for that. I'm concerned about being around that person because I don't want, like, I feel like if you're going to do that, then I don't know anything else you might do. There's nothing else I can trust about you in life.
I didn't know that part of having interns meant teaching them how to eat fruit. I had no idea that was part of the assignment. How do you eat a cherry? Do you eat the pit? When you're eating a pear, do you just eat the entire thing? Apples. How do you eat an apple?
Well, it's weird because when
Is there a right and wrong way to eat an apple?
Well,
No,
I didn't.
I
I didn't know
think-
there was a right or wrong way to eat a banana until you ate a banana, and I go, well, there's a wrong way.
well, see, typically, like when we had interns, when Corey was in that chair, he would have the interns feed him fruit.
Oh yeah.
So he was teaching them the right way to eat fruit by having them just feed him the fruit while he laid back with his flip flops and, and swimming trunks.
Do you know you're not supposed to eat the outside of a kiwi? Do you only eat the outside of a kiwi?
I feel like I've
I don't think I've ever
had
eaten
sliced kiwi that still has a little bit of the fuzz.
I've never eaten kiwi before.
To be
Sorry,
honest.
Sterling just walking around eating kiwi often.
You not eat kiwi?
Boy, I'll tell you what, man, that is
Seriously, no one else eats
champagne
kiwi?
problems here. Drake,
Kiwi's
last time you
delicious.
had kiwi.
I don't think I've ever had.
I don't think I've ever eaten kiwi before.
Wow, why do you
Yeah,
hate the
yeah.
New Zealand culture?
It's not that I hate the culture. I just am not very cultured, apparently, with eating kiwi. A lot of other. Can we have his mic on? Emmy keeps talking over here. So what's that, Emmy?
So I said I don't even like the bird kiwi.
See, I don't even know there was a bird named kiwi. So now I know.
Sterling, when you woke up this morning,
I did not think I was going to see that.
Rose from your slumber, did you think you'd be teaching an intern how to eat a banana? Like,
No, I
think
did
would see-
not.
Yeah, I don't understand the thought process behind it. You're like, it takes too much time to peel the banana as you go along. It takes the exact same amount of time. It's like filling up your gas tank halfway through, and you're like, well, at least
No,
you don't have to fill it up
Jason,
the
you're
full
not
way
getting it. You're not getting me, Jason. You got to fill it up halfway because then it.
Shaq, listen,
hey.
Shaq. If you fill it up halfway, you're still filling it up twice, but it's the same amount of money.
Kenny,
Both
you're not
times.
getting me.
You
You're
know,
only filling it up halfway, Kenny.
if you peel the whole banana off, it takes the same amount of time to peel the banana as you're eating it.
Hey, to prove my case, you always
no
look for
case.
opportunities
No
to stick
case.
out, right?
In no case.
No.
This is
I'm
what it is.
terrified of you.
Whether that professor doesn't know my name, he's like, oh, that guy.
No, it's the banana
It's
guy.
the banana
it's
guy.
the-
Yeah.
I'm not
the
giving
banana
him
guy.
benefit of the doubt.
Exactly. And like now you guys are going to remember like in 20 years back, oh yeah.
Oh, the
Remember
banana
that
guy.
one intern that ate a
was-
flipping banana.
What was
you
his
know?
nickname? Banana peel? What was
Ted was his nickname
Mario-
Bundy for Ted
Mario-
Bundy.
yeah,
I don't. What was his?
Exactly.
right.
I'm just leaving like a little rabbit trail of
I get
of
it, man.
goodness, but
Totally.
with bananas,
yes.
I
Little
guess.
Easter eggs everywhere.
No, the banana peels for people to slip.
Maybe that's the case. Unfortunately, it would have been nice had Tyrese Halliburton slipped on the floor instead of being able to fully plant his foot and push off. That did not happen. He ruptures his Achilles. Let's play clip number 3 here. This is Adam Silver last night, ESPN radio interview, and it has been a conversation about the Achilles tendon injuries in the NBA, 3 of them in the postseason. And here's that interview. It's about 2 minutes long, and question and answer with Adam Silver about what this latest rash of Achilles injuries is going on and what they can do about it.
I want to talk about the NBA Finals, Commissioner, because it was such a fun ride, that 7-game experience with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. And a really unfortunate sort of undertone of it in Game 7 was Tyrese Halliburton going down with the Achilles injury. And it's a rash of these injuries that we've seen now in these playoffs with Jason Tatum and Damian Lillard as well. Is the league looking at that at all, or is there anything to do to address it?
We are looking at it, and in fact, we had already convened a panel of experts before Tyrese's most recent Achilles rupture. So we had 7 this year. We had 0 last year under the exact same circumstances. And the most we've ever had in a season is 4. NFL has had a rash of Achilles issues as well. So the purpose of convening those experts is to try to figure out what's going on. It's interesting, when we look back at the last 10 years, the majority of the Achilles injuries have happened before the All-Star break. So it's not clear it's the number of games. And as you know, modern NBA players, even when they're not playing games, sometimes in the summer, they're working harder than they are during the season when they're playing 3 games a week. They're often playing every day. Some experts think it may have more to do with youth basketball. It may have as much to do with what they do from 10 to 19. Increasingly, they're single-sport athletes. These guys train also harder than when I talk to veteran players now. I was talking to Andre Iguodala the other day, the head of the Players Association. He's saying he's counseling a lot of these players that they need more rest on their body in the off season. I mean, you've got guys working out 3 times a day. So I'm hopeful that by looking at more data, by looking at patterns, this is one area where AI, people are talking about how that's going to transform so many areas. The ability with AI to ingest all video that of every game a player's played in to see if you can detect there's some pattern that we didn't realize that leads to an Achilles injury, whether it's associated with calf injuries. We really don't know, but we're taking it very seriously.
I like the, he mentions AI twice. One, his conversation with Andre Iguodala.
The other one with Allen Iverson.
With actual AI that is taking in all of the different information and video. There's a lot of things that may go into this. It's a good point when he said, we've had 7 this year, and we had 0 last year. So at this point last year, nobody was talking about this rash of Achilles injuries and why this is happening. Maybe it's just one of those incredibly rare anomalies that stick out, and you're like, well, I mean, remember that year they had 7 Achilles ruptures? The most ever they had had in a season before was 4, so almost doubling what the previous high was, and 7 more than a year ago when they had 0. There are a lot of different things that people are studying right now. I get it, understandable. Whether that's youth basketball, if it's playing too many games as a teenager, or 60, 70 games in basketball when you don't play that until you get into the NBA or something like that. Working out constantly throughout the off season. Well, you're trying to. I mean, the money is so exponentially higher that it makes sense to work out and to get as good as you could possibly be and to continue to improve, because it's worth the injury later on if you're signing these massive deals. The money is just astronomical in the NBA. It makes perfect sense to do that. Also, if you're keeping up with the Joneses, I mean, you are trying to win a spot, keep your spot. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco comes into the league and says, my job is to, or I'm going to take a grown man's job. Well, that's every single person that's getting drafted or going to some of these camps and invites and G League and Summer League games trying to take somebody's job. And if 5 years from now I rupture my Achilles after signing a $50 million contract, oh, so be it. Then I'll worry about my Achilles rupturing there. I think there are a number of different things that can go into it, but maybe it's fewer games. Iguodala said stop working out so much. If he's talking to AI, then AI would say cancel all practices. Right, that would make sense. Iverson would say there's no need to practice at all.
I just don't
maybe
think
play a game.
I don't think it has anything to do with the amount of games played. I really don't.
Well,
I mean,
his point was like, these happening before the All-Star break. That's not an amount of games.
I mean, how many games did they play back in the day? I mean, guys played all the time, and this was never a concern. I just think that is the explosive nature of today, coupled with you train differently now, and the moves are different now. The game is different than it once was. Like Pistol Pete, you're telling me that dude, he was known for his practice. He was known for playing all these games, and then he had knee injuries,
right.
Of course. So maybe there is some. That's not an Achilles injury there. I don't know. I think it's a thing to keep an eye on, but I don't know if we have any concrete evidence of this being just this. Because remember in the NFL when there was that one year when like all these guys popped their Achilles and we're all just sitting there like it was in training camp if I'm not mistaken, and then it just never happened really again. It was just that 1 year. Now this seems more than just a one-off. It just does seem. Was it 24 happened in the NBA history, and it's been a lot more recent, which of course. But again, I just think we need a larger sample size. I mean, if it's 7 out of how many NBA players?
Right. Over the course of the entire season.
With 0 last year.
0 last year, right.
Evens out to 3.5 a year over the past 2. I mean, I don't know. I
think it's worth studying to see if there is something here biomechanically that's going on with the players and overuse, if it's the one sport specialty that you're only working on your muscles for basketball, where if you played football or baseball or tennis or another sport that you'd be honing other muscles and you wouldn't just be overusing constantly the same muscle, and same tendons in the same way that where it gets worn down. Could be that too. There's a lot of things that could go into it, but it also very well could be, like you mentioned, this year that could just completely stick out and be an anomaly.
Just wait till AI identifies banana peels is the problem.
I knew it. You got to eat more banana peels. People that peel the entire banana and eat it do not tear an Achilles. That's a fact. We'll talk with, we'll talk about Josh Simmons coming up at noon. Ken Swanson joined us earlier this hour, and we discussed a number of things with the Chiefs as they get ready for camp, a month from now, July 22nd. And part of the conversation we had, actually a good portion of the conversation, I didn't expect us to talk this much about Josh Simmons with Kent, but a good portion of that conversation was about Josh Simmons and that being the biggest development in OTAs, minicamp, phase 3, whatever, was the health of Josh Simmons and how optimistic Andy Reid has been. And he is not typically that guy. Andy Reid is typically the guy that will play it more low-key, day to day. We'll just see how it goes. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see what he looks like today. He does a lot of that, he'll talk and, we'll see what he looks like today. We're just going to take it one day at a time and see what he looks like. And then if you ask him the next day about what he looked like, he looked fine. He did some things, but we'll see how he looks today.
He did some things he
did some things,
peak Andy.
Out. And so it's always that, but not typically do we hear, unless he doesn't offer anything overly optimistic just to blow smoke.
Yeah.
Of no, this guy's going to be great. This guy's going to be really, really, he's going to be healthy and everything's going to be fine. And the guy is actually having his leg amputated. That's not going to be Andy Reid. And so when he comes out and says that he's going to be full go for the first day of training camp, then I think you can count on Josh Simmons being full go the first day of training camp. If not, then this is something we will take a note of.
Yeah.
And remember down the line of, okay, why was this different with Andy Reid talking about Josh Simmons if he was not actually ready to go for the first day of training camp? Was it to justify the draft pick or, I don't even know what's the point of that.
Give him something to look like, make Josh Simmons work harder to make sure he's ready. I don't know.
But there would be no reason, right?
Correct.
What's the value in saying that if you're Andy Reid? What do you get back if you present that to the public that Josh Simmons will be ready to go day one at training camp, and he actually won't be?
And he said that, and it wasn't like he said he's all right. Because if he said he was all right, that means his left side could be hurting him.
It's a great point, and it'll never be. It's a really. I mean, it's a good point, but a terrible joke. You know what I mean? So both can be true at the same time.
He's all right. Wow, you're handling this a lot better than I would. What do you mean, Doc? Well, he's all right. His left hand's getting amputated right now. He's all right.
It's
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development, yeah.
It's a great bit.
Speaking of which, there's always money in the banana stand.
Always money. No, because he would somehow peel the banana stand.
Yeah,
and,
he would. Or
you'd
burn it
find
down.
the money.
Or burn it down, spoiler alert.
No, but I
There's always money in the banana stand.
I think you're right. This is the most enthusiastic we've really heard Andy Reid regarding an injury, maybe in his tenure in Kansas City. It is a little fascinating of even on draft day. I mean, Brett Veach was the one almost saying, "Hey, Andy, calm down.
Yes.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit on that."
Flip the role, right? And Brett Veach is like, well, I mean, yeah, Andy's because Brett Veach was that. Andy said he should be good to go for training camp, and Brett Veach was like, well, I mean, we'll see. That's a long way away from training camp. There's a lot of road and ground to cover and navigate through before we're going to get there to training camp to know if he is actually ready to go or not. So there is no real value or anything to be gained by being overly optimistic and misleading in a degree that Andy Reid would be if Josh Simmons wasn't actually going to be healthy enough and ready for training camp. It's a huge development with this team.
Yeah.
His health to go in practice number 1 on July 22nd.
Which poses some fun questions.
What are those fun questions?
Well,
what?
I'll let you do it. You did a lot of the research and work on this for this next segment.
Or maybe I just threw it together. I'm not really sure. We're 3.5 weeks away from training camp right now, which is amazing to think because it doesn't feel that long ago when the Chiefs were playing the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Maybe for some people it does. It just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't feel that long ago. And we're 3.5 weeks away. We're roughly how many weeks away from... We are closer to training camp than the Royals are to their last home win. Put that into perspective.
Yikes.
Yeah, big yikes. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes. The Drake, we head up until 2 o'clock. We've got you for a couple of more hours here. Sports or Leisure comes our way at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. 913-912-4810 is the text line. Many people agreeing that it is sociopathic to peel the entire banana and then eat it, as opposed to just peeling the banana while you eat it. That is pretty obvious that everybody's on the same page with that. We've talked some NBA draft today. We talked Royals in the first segment and then decided to stop doing that. We decided to stop the Royals talk like their offense. Just stop doing it. Just stop talking about it. Stop having any sort of success whatsoever with that part of it. But Bobby Witt is going to be playing for Team USA, which is cool, in the World Baseball Classic. He's played with them a couple of years ago when that happened as well. Let's talk about the Chiefs. And I'd mentioned that, we talked with Ken Swanson and how much in that conversation I didn't expect to be talking about Josh Simmons. But we did talk a lot about Josh Simmons. And let's play this clip from Jason Kelsey. This is from the New Heights podcast. Trey Smith was on New Heights podcast. And boy, I'll tell you what, Jason Kelsey is not doing anything to bring my expectations and excitement around Josh Simmons back to earth. I mean, he is just putting more helium in this balloon for my excitement of Josh Simmons and my overly enthusiastic view of what he could be. But here's Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey, and Trey Smith, New Heights podcast, talking about Josh Simmons.
Watching the tape in college, it was absurd. Josh Simmons, to me, watching the tape in college, it was absurd.
Yeah.
Like the athletic ability and size. Trav knows because I've been watching this dude.
I've been preaching my eyes on him. You already know. I've seen it. He was playing defensive end as just like a scout team defensive end, and he was just playing this gap, but he was being a pro. He was being locked in and being a pro, and I felt that man's hands grab me. And I was like, all right. We're just, I got to come with it, even when he's just giving the looks. I got to make sure I'm got my feet planted, man.
I've watched a lot of these linemen coming out the last few years. This kid, I mean, he is the closest thing I've seen to like a Trent Williams or like a Jason, like that next level, like strength and athleticism.
Man, I haven't seen him in action, but I mean, I just heard that he is so strong, like unbelievably strong is one thing. So like Trav, you saying about his hands, like that's perfectly spot on what I keep hearing. But obviously, like the talent is there, man. I've seen some of his film as well, and obviously got a chance to win a natty last year. Shout out to him, but. I think he's going to be a great asset to the team, and I'm looking forward to it, bro.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, baby. Get him in there. Get him nice and ingrained in the culture we got over there, man. Have some fun while we go and whip some ass.
Yeah.
So, Jason Kelsey, why did he have to say – he didn't have to say that, right? He didn't have to say that the athleticism, the tape, the hands, what he's doing – is the closest thing I've seen to Trent Williams. There's no reason to say that, Jason. There's no reason to say that except to really have my heart grow 3-4 times larger like the Grinch seeing Cindy Lou Who. All right? That's what we are seeing Josh Simmons at left tackle, because that has been – I mean, I joked with Adam Teicher Tuesday about, are you going to miss – Adam, are you going to miss all the conversations talking about left tackle around here like we've done for the last 4 years? Are you going to miss the 4-year conversation of left tackle around here now that you're moving to Denver?
It's longer than that. It's ever since Eric Fisher retired. I think it even can go back to Orlando Brown Jr.
Yeah. Well, I mean, acquiring Orlando Brown, what they were going to do there. So that was in the 2021 offseason. So you had 2021 with Orlando Brown, 2022 with Orlando Brown. But even around the Orlando Brown conversation, it was, is he good enough?
Yeah.
What are you going to pay for him? You got a coach around him. You need to find somebody better. He's the issue with the offense.
Does it not feel like 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like Orlando Brown Jr. was a Chief 7 years ago, not a couple? More than a couple, a few.
It's been a while. So that was 7 years ago, and the Royals can't get to 4 scores. Drake just looks so disappointed in me. You know what, Drake? Here's the thing. I don't care. I'm more disappointed in me than you are. So I'm more disappointed in myself.
You can't disappoint. You can't be disappointed in a man who disappoints himself.
Yeah. You can't fire me, I quit. You can't be more disappointed. I hold myself in contempt, all right? But Jason Kelce saying this is the best he's seen, could be the best he's seen since Trent Williams. There's a potential here. Potential. We don't know what it's going to look like health-wise and then when you actually go out there and have to play the game. But there's a potential of the Chiefs having maybe one of the best value tackles in a long time.
Christian Darrisaw maybe at 23. Rashawn Slater, I think, also went. Where did he go?
He was like 22 or something like
22. They're very close.
Yeah.
Same draft, I think.
But you would have, like, those guys are in the 20s, though. This is pick number 32.
Yeah.
Like, it's Trey Smith was a 6th rounder, but he's a guard. And if you're going to get a guy, Trent Williams, you had to pick number 4 to get Trent Williams. You had to pick 1, 2, 3, or 4 if you were going to get Trent Williams that year. Picking 5th, you were going to have to trade up to get that guy. So there is a chance that if this is the right pick, if this guy turns out to be 1, healthy, 2, returning to productivity, not just return to play, but return to play and return to production are 2 different things. Return to that level of play. Because obviously we're seeing him being able to return to play. Andy Reid said that he's going to be healthy and good to go full practice on, July 22nd. But when he returns to play, what's he going to look like? Can he look like his tape did at Ohio State? If that's the case, and he's healthy, then there is no question that the Chiefs have stolen one of the better tackle prospects to come out in a long time and got him at pick 32. And if Kent Swanson's right when he said there's a chance that the Chiefs have found the last tackle that Patrick Mahomes will play with in his career, I mean, that would be amazing, by the way. Because if you have you don't let these guys get away. The Baltimore Ravens re-signed Ronnie Stanley. And it was like, well, Ronnie Stanley's going to be a free agent. All these other tackles are going to be free agents. You don't let them get away.
Correct.
Because then if you, Dan Moore is going to sign for the contract he signed for. Jalen Moore is the contract he's signing for. Like, it's an astronomical number, but it's an astronomical number because they're hard to find. It's hard to find these top 10, top 15 tackles. And maybe that's exactly what Josh Simmons will be. And if he is, I wonder when we look back at this previous draft and say, this guy went to this spot, from pick 9 to 29, you didn't have an offensive tackle selected. You had Kelvin Banks at number 9 that went to New Orleans. And then you had pick number 29 when you saw Josh Connolly going to the Commanders.
Tackle, of course, because Booker went 12 to the Cowboys, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tackle. Tyler Booker's a guard. Gray Zabel went to Seattle as a guard. Donovan Jackson went to Minnesota as a guard as well. I mean, just listed that way.
Yeah.
Maybe Gray Zabel plays tackle. Maybe, but that true sort of offensive tackle, whether it's right side, left side, whatever. There was that wide gap from 9 to 29. And I wonder if we look back, Sterling, we can say, well, this team took tackle, would they take Josh Simmons? Well, this team took tackle, would they take Josh Simmons? Well, what about this team took defensive end? Would they have taken Josh Simmons?
Yeah.
That's the question I would have, is if you look through the draft and say, in 5 years, we're going to redraft this. Well, New England took Will Campbell at number 4. Well, they would take Josh Simmons. Okay. Well, what about, the very next pick? The Cleveland Browns. Would they have taken
Mason Graham, I think?
Yeah, but would they have taken Mason Graham or would they have taken Josh Williams?
Yeah.
Because, you look at their tackle situation and it's not great, Bob. So would it be 4 and 5? But you go, well, no, they took defensive tackle. Right, but would they have taken an offensive tackle?
Sure.
If that was available. Would Tom Brady, sitting there in Vegas, you bring in Geno Smith, you've got Colton Miller. Maybe you stay with Colton Miller. Maybe you move him to the right side. Josh Simmons, the right side, left side. You go the route of what the Chargers did when you already had Slater and you still took John Alt.
Yeah.
Because if you're Brady, you're going, well, I know how protected I was and what it took there. This is what I want. Geno ain't the most mobile guy.
Sure.
So is it better to have Gianti as your running back, or is it better to have bookend tackles in Colton Miller and Josh Simmons? Would they have taken, if we look back and say they're going to redraft? Somebody put out the redraft of the 2013 draft.
Sure.
Chiefs pick number 1, and they had the Chiefs picking number 1, Travis Kelce, at number 1. So they still end up with Travis Kelce in the redraft. But, you didn't have to take him number 1. You got Eric Fisher, and you still got Travis Kelce as well. But, how many different picks have we looked through? Is M'Bendu a Jet, or is Josh Simmons a Jet? Is Kelvin Banks a Saint, or is Josh Simmons a Saint? 49ers don't need a tackle. Colts have a pretty good one.
I am.
The Bengals have Orlando Brown, but are they good with Orlando Brown? Do they take Shamar Stewart, who isn't in signed yet? Or do they take Josh Simmons and move Orlando Brown to the right side?
I am intrigued that so many teams passed up on Simmons when everyone agreed he was a top 10 talent if healthy. But the fact he seems healthy and ready to go for training camp makes me wonder if, one, the Chiefs medical staff is just cleared him or is more, I don't want to say maybe lax is the right word. I'm not saying wrong.
Right.
But maybe more lax than other franchises. Now, again, we're not saying that every team would have taken Simmons, because some teams just wouldn't have taken a tackle at all. But 8 teams, 10 teams, if he was healthy, would he have had a chance to go to?
I think there's a pretty good chance that you've got guys that are taking other positions that would have taken him.
But even let's say the Cowboys, if he was healthy, would they have taken Simmons or Booker? It's offensive line. I know it's guard versus tackle, but still, point remains. I guess I'm just a little bit of, where was the disconnect on the injury update of Simmons? Because it did feel like prior to the draft, it was, well, he's for sure missing 2025. If he plays at all,
It's gonna be like a red shirt.
It'll be a red shirt. And that's more or less what we heard the entire time. But clearly he would have had to have been ahead of schedule versus what was released to the media, because he wouldn't have gone from he's going to miss all of 2025 in red shirt to, no, he'll be ready to go by training camp. There had to have been some sort of disconnect, and you would have to imagine the other franchises would have known that. I don't know. I obviously give the Chiefs and Simmons a ton of credit, but I guess I'm still a little wary of how there was such a, I guess, again, disconnect between 31 of the franchises and the Chiefs when it came to, and maybe 31's not the answer, maybe it's 12, and the Chiefs when it came to the medical side of things for Simmons.
Well, Buffalo, for instance, Buffalo needs help defensively, and they needed help in the secondary, so they go and get Maxwell Harrison at cornerback.
Sure.
If Josh Simmons is fully healthy and he's still there, is Buffalo saying, well, no, we're going to continue going with Deion Dawkins? Well,
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah. But that's to where, would they have to think about it? I think at that point you'd be like, all right, so what do we not know as to why this guy is falling? Because, the theory behind the draft is, if a player is drafted ahead of expectations, if it's a quote-unquote reach, the only thing we know for a fact is one team believed in that player at that spot.
Sure.
But when a player falls, that's a better indication, because all the teams are passing on him. It took one team to believe in Tim Tebow, Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Everybody passed on Shadur Sanders, including the Browns. Now, quarterback might be a little bit different than, say, offensive tackle.
Clelin Ferrell for the Raiders. One team believed in him, and that was the Raiders.
Right. So was he that good enough? Alex Leatherwood.
Yeah.
The Raiders. One team believed that he was a top 20 pick.
Darius Hayward-Bay. Sebastian Janikowski.
What are you saying? What are you getting at here? All right, are you trying to come up with some sort of a theme?
No.
At this spot?
No,
come on, man.
not me hating on the Raiders. Couldn't
right.
be.
There are certain teams as you go through and say, okay, not this team, not this team, not this team. That team wouldn't do it. That team wouldn't do it. That team wouldn't do it because they have left tackles or whatever. San Francisco at 11 wouldn't do it. I think Dallas would.
Yeah.
Would they rather have the guard or Josh Simmons? If Dallas knew that Josh Simmons was going to be fully healthy for training camp, would Tyler Booker be a Cowboy, or would Josh Simmons be a Cowboy?
Well, again, I guess for me, it just how I would love to, and maybe this is a question for Andy, and maybe not even Andy, it's just the medical staff of when they first evaluated Simmons prior to the draft to now, how much farther ahead of schedule is he, or is this exactly what they thought? Because then that would lead me to believe that all those teams were not nervous about the injury, but more nervous about the San Diego State to Ohio State, the character concerns that seems so I mean, like,
that came out after the fact.
After the fact. And so, I guess I just keep wondering how far ahead of schedule is Simmons from when he was first looked at by these medical staffs? 2, if the Chiefs were the only one that were more lax than the other franchises, and 3, if the, again, quote-unquote, character concerns just scared everyone away, because there was never a doubt about talent. There was never a question about if Josh Simmons could do it. There was a little bit about what does he look like post-injury.
Yeah.
But still, if he's healthy, I think a lot of teams, even in that 18 and on range, start thinking, well, that's a risk we're willing to take. This is the risk reward. Like, I get why you would take Will Campbell. I get why you would take Mimbu. I get why you might say, we'll take Booker on the inside, because the Cowboys have done a great job developing talent on the inside with guards. I get that. But once you start getting to 18 on, I think you start thinking like the Chiefs would have, which is, well, the risk reward is starting to even out, as far as, even if he doesn't look like the same guy he looked like pre-injury, 90% of that or 85% of that is still a really good player and a guy we think can play here, at least on a rookie contract. That's still a deal. Again, I have a lot of questions.
Well, let's go through it here real quick, and we'll have either E5 or Emmy keep track of the numbers here. So we'll say that's one, or that's one, or that's one, whatever. I think Tennessee still takes Cam Ward.
Oh, yeah, we're not.
QB.
Yeah.
What about Jacksonville?
But
you've got the money tied up in Trevor Lawrence, and you don't have tackles and offensive line to where you feel good about.
They're okay. I mean, they were able to move on from Cam Robinson for that reason.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fine.
they're not bad.
I would guess they'll still say Travis Hunter.
Agreed. I don't think that, in my opinion, there's not even a question there.
The New York Giants, they've got Andrew Thomas. I don't think they would draft him. I think they would go with Abdul Carter.
I think those 3 are the 3. I think they're kind of in a tier of their own.
New England, yes. So there's one. I think New England absolutely takes Josh Simmons if he's the healthiest, if he's healthy, because he was going to be drafted ahead of Will Campbell anyway. And then Josh Simmons' injury happens, and it was like, well, this guy was the best offensive tackle prospect in this draft, could do anything, and then he gets injured. So who's the best of the rest? Okay, it's Will Campbell. But the best of the rest was sort of beauty in the eye of the beholder. Was it Mimbu? Some people thought Mimbu was the best tackle on the board. Some people thought it was Kelvin Banks was the best tackle on the board. Some people thought it was Will Campbell. The Patriots clearly thought it was Will Campbell. I'm going to say the Patriots would have taken, if Simmons reaches what we hope he can, if Jason Kelsey seeing the closest thing since Trent Williams, Andy Reid saying he's ready to go practice number 1 at training camp, is Will Campbell or Josh Simmons a Patriot?
I'll say one. I think probably Will Campbell, but I'll just agree with you for the sake of this argument.
Okay, so you're going to stay with 0. Or just agree. I thought you said I'll disagree with.
I'll agree with you for the sake of this argument, but I would probably realistically disagree.
Okay,
I'd probably still say Will Campbell.
All right, so you'd be wrong, but that's okay. I'd agree with you, or we'd both be wrong. You know, that's just dumb. Cleveland is the next pick. They took a lot of quarterbacks. They took Mason Graham. I'm going to say yeah.
DeJuan Jones is currently their left tackle.
Yeah, so yes. I think they would take Josh Simmons. I'm going to put that as 2.
Okay.
Raiders have Colton Miller. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'll say no because I think Ashton Jeanty was the pick for them.
Yep. Jets went Mimbu, yes. I think Josh Simmons would be viewed. There were a lot of people in the draft process that said, well, yeah, I've got this person over Josh Simmons, but it's injury related.
They did go Olu Fashanu last year, the year prior, and that is their left tackle.
That's their left tackle.
And so they really focused on right tackle because of Mimbu.
Okay, so I'll agree with you on this one, and I'll say no.
Okay.
Even for the sake of argument, I'll just say no. I don't want to go down everyone and be like, oh, yes. Let's be realistic. Nope, they were looking specific right tackle. They think Mimbu is going to be more of a solid right tackle, and that you could certainly move him because –
of course,
Alt plays right tackle for the Chargers.
Of course, and he was a left tackle.
So I'll say no with the
because
Jets.
I do think for them again, I think that was a right tackle specific because you just drafted left tackle with Fashanu.
Yeah, Carolina no because you're going to give the extended contract to their guy they drafted 4 years ago. The Saints, yes, they took Kelvin Banks Jr.
Yes,
I think that's
Saints for sure.
I think that's a pretty obvious one. Chicago spent a lot of money in the offensive line in the offseason. I'm going to say no. I think they spent a lot of resources to draft or to bulk up the offensive line, and then they wanted to make sure that Caleb Williams had then weapons with the offensive line. They went and got Loveland.
Yeah.
They want Caleb Williams to have his Travis Kelce. I think they still go Loveland there.
I think you're probably right.
49ers, no. They've
No.
got Trent Williams. Cowboys, yes.
I agree.
At pick 12. I think the Cowboys take Simmons instead of Tyler Booker. Miami Dolphins took Kenneth Grant at defensive tackle, and Armstead just retired.
I'd say yes because Armstead retired. I think that they actually had a need there. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a quarterback that's often concussed. You probably need to protect him as much as you can. I'm going to say yes to the Miami Dolphins. Indianapolis Colts, no, they've got Raimon at left tackle. Atlanta Falcons, they took Jalen Walker at linebacker.
They needed defensive help more than anything else. Their offensive line's fine. I'd say they'd go defense because they needed a cornerback and they needed they had the worst defensive line in the NFL last year when it came to pass rush. I think it was pass rush only. They have Jake Matthews still. And Caleb McGarry's been good at right side. Chris Lindstrom's maybe the best right guard in football.
Yeah.
I think that they would.
I'm saying I know they got McGarry on the right side.
Yeah, and they have Jake Matthews. I think they're going defense. I mean, that was the issue for them. They needed defense or a wide receiver. So I think for sure. I don't think that was in the play.
I'll stay with you on that one. That it's not the Atlanta Falcons. Arizona Cardinals. I mean, DJ Humphrey they moved on from. So is that somebody that they would say, all right, well, we're definitely going to then take a Paris Johnson Jr.
Yeah, that was again
moved.
6th pick overall.
Yeah, he moved to left tackle last year.
Yeah,
but then it's you had DJ Humphries and Paris Johnson as your bookend. Humphries leaves, so they move Paris Johnson to the left side.
Yeah.
Do you then go the same route and go, well, we drafted somebody and moved him to the right side, and we had somebody already because you've got the money tied up into Kyler Murray? I don't know. I'm going to say no, though. I'm going to say no.
They went Walter Nolan, right?
Yep. I'm going to say no because maybe Walter Nolan wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And they view the value there, and we've just moved Paris Johnson to the left side. We're good. We'll find out. The Cincinnati Bengals, they've got Orlando Brown, and they have continually tried to figure out their offensive line.
Yeah.
And they took Shamar Stewart. I think yes. I think they
yes.
do. Seattle, no, because they've got Cross.
Yeah, Gavin Cross has been great.
They take Gray Zabel. I think that's probably what they wanted anyway, was that guy that can play 3 positions really well on the interior. The Bucks, no. They've got Wirfs. Broncos, no. They've got Bulls. Pittsburgh, yes. I mean, they just lost Dan Moore. They took Derek Harmon. Oh, they took they
took Pryor.
Right. They took
not Fashanu, but the other one.
Yep.
It's
yeah, they did, and he got injured early on.
Yeah,
which is why Dan Moore had to play that.
What
much.
is his name? It's not Fashanu. It's the they. I thought they had similar names.
They do.
Oh no, it's not that guy. Fatanu.
Fatanu.
Troy Fatanu, and they also have Broderick Jones. But yeah, it'd be I think Troy Fatanu. So yeah.
Yep. So Pittsburgh, no. I'm going to say no to Pittsburgh. Chargers, no. Green Bay, no. Minnesota, no. Giants, we already said no. What about Falcons the second go around? But they traded up to get James Pierce. They came back in to get specifically James Pierce. So no.
Yeah.
Baltimore just signs Ronnie Stanley.
So no.
Lions, no. Commanders, no. Tunsil and but you know what? They took Connerly. Hold on. Commanders took Josh Connerly after trading for
left
Laremy
tackle.
Tunsil.
So I'd say yes, 100%.
So I'm going to say yes with that one
because they don't care about left or right, and that's what that tells me.
Buffalo Bills, Maxwell Harrison, no.
Yeah,
they've got Dawkins, and they've got if what's his face on the other side can stay healthy. Eagles, no, and then the Chiefs, yes.
Spencer Brown.
Spencer Brown, that's what it is if he stays healthy. So how many we got there, E5?
How many
9?
Numbers?
You had one job, E5.
Did you have another error?
You have 8.
Okay, so
8 yeses.
So we would say there might be 8 teams.
Wait, let's fact check. You got 8?
8 to maybe 10.
We got 8.
8 to 10. So 8-10. 8 to 10 different teams that may go Josh Simmons as opposed to who they drafted. If he's fully healthy and he does look like what people hope he can look like. Which is different than there were 4 tackles taken before him, so then there were 4 teams.
Well, then it goes back, Jason, to if he is this healthy and ready for training camp, why was there not a team that took a shot? Unless, again, the Chiefs training staff is more lax, or 2, he is somehow so far ahead of schedule that no other team foresaw this, which doesn't necessarily seem to be the case, or 3,
Ooh, what's 3? Hold on.
conspiracy. They want the Chiefs to win. They rigged this.
There it is. Roger Goodell told all
Roger
the other
Goodell
owners,
said they can't draft Simmons, and
That's
they
right.
rigged it for the Chiefs.
Once you get into the
We're gonna hear that.
referees-
You know, we're gonna hear that. Once Simmons turns into a stud, we're gonna hear, well, it was rigged for the Chiefs.
That's right. It's like Patrick Ewing. It was the frozen envelope. So New York Knicks with the 40-year anniversary of that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back more Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes. The Drake heading up until 2 o'clock. We got Sports or Leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. Tonight, the rest of the NBA draft, night number 2. And I guess every year when it happens, I just totally forget that it's a 2-night event. I mean, I don't know how long it's been a 2-night event with the NBA draft. But this can't be the first year that I looked at it and was like, oh, that's right, it's a 2-night event. Because this ain't the first year that it's been a 2-night event.
It's the second year.
So last year was the first year was a 2-night event?
NBA draft became a 2-day event starting in 2024.
Okay, so there you go. That's why it was did not stand out to me. Because last year, nothing really stood out about the draft to me with all of the foreign players that were taken. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. I'm not sure who that is. Don't really know who that guy is. Never heard of that dude. That's a country maybe I'd like to go visit one day, but I don't know anything about their basketball.
Yeah, you strike me as a guy who wanted to go visit Yemen.
Grassroots. That's fine. Yeah, sure. I'll go. I mean, there's probably nice places in every country, right? I'll go. I don't want to pay for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody wants to send me on a nice vacation, that'd be great. That's how I view Tahoe. It's a great vacation that I work while I'm there, and we'll be heading there in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. We'll be in Tahoe. Soren and Todd will be at Big 12 Football Media Days. I mean, all of that. That's like the last hurdle to get through. You get through Tahoe, and you're really talking about training camp with the Chiefs. Because you're talking about Big 12 Media Days at that time, SEC Media Days going on, football on the docket, on the conference. Boy, I wonder, what are they going to talk about Media Days at Media Days this year? What are they going to talk about at Media Days this year? I wonder, what could you possibly be discussing in these NFL Media Days that are going to go on in the SEC and the Big 12? I have no idea with revenue sharing, how much teams, what percentage they're going to spend on players, the NIL, Title IX issues, the playoffs. You're going to get a 4-4-4, 4 bids for the SEC, 4 bids for the ACC, and then 4 bids combined for the ACC and Big 12. What are you going to go with there? Like, there's a lot of things to talk about in college football without actually talking about the football being played, because the college landscape continues just to evolve, and now yet another season of it just evolving with revenue sharing and money that's just going to be explicitly paid to players that are there, plus trying to find a way to get NIL deals as well. Can you find an NIL deal to give to said players to sweeten the pot so you don't have to use as much of your salary cap on some of these players, or just give them the money under the table, the old-fashioned way? You know what I mean?
I mean, come on. Just good old-fashioned money under the table. That's
right.
just...
It's just smart.
Just
what
smart.
It is.
Some good old-fashioned cheating.
Yeah.
Just some good old-fashioned grease to the palms. Just a strong-ass offer.
Give them an envelope, Give them a gym bag filled with $100 bills.
Why don't
like
I
Ricky
ever
Rowe got.
find gym bags filled with money? I feel like that is not... Two things I thought I'd find more of in my life.
Yeah.
Gym bags full of money and quicksand. And I have not run into either of those obstacles yet.
One of them seems to be more lucky than the other. Both of them could result in your imminent death.
Yeah, probably.
Because if you find a gym bag full of money,
and it's not
somebody
yours,
might want that pretty badly, and maybe willing to do some things.
Dumb
to
and
get that
Dumber
back.
is almost predicated on that.
That's right.
Samsonite.
Yeah, he had a vest on. What if they
But-
shot you in the face? It's a risk we were willing to take.
These
There's
are
some IOUs in there.
These are IOUs, sir. These are as good.
It's as good as money. Oh, that's for the car. That's a big one. Might want to hold on to that IOU. That's right. The NBA draft last night. One of the cooler things that took place. So we were, you're watching and you see, Danny Wolf staying in the green room, and he hasn't been drafted yet, and Liam McNeely after him hasn't been drafted yet, and Danny Wolf looked like he was going to cry when it was like at pick like 25, 26, 27, because he's still sitting there, and it's like they've got the camera right on him before he's taken by the Brooklyn Nets, and finally he gets drafted. And he's emotional, his family's emotional, his brother's emotional. Liam McNeely was interesting. Freshman at UConn. And Danny Wolf we talked with Yale's head coach, whose name's escapes me right now, and I apologize. But we talked to Yale's head coach at the Final Four, and we were talking about the NIL, and he would mention, and transfer portal, and mention, Danny Wolf. We've had him here for a couple of years, and we've won the tournament, getting to the NCAA tournament, winning the Ivy League. And now he's at Michigan and was pretty damn good at Michigan. His first-round draft pick. But Liam McNeely, as a freshman, gets drafted. And it tells me a lot about, what he may be, or potential he could be in the NBA. So they're doing the interview with his mom and him. And they ask his mom, hey, what is it about Liam that, he's here at this point that you can tell us about him? And she says, he's always been counted out. He's been an underdog. He's had to fight for everything that he's got. But what I love about him is that he's about his teammates. He's about trying to win. Whatever it takes to win is what he wants to do, and being that guy that is about the team first. And then they're talking to Liam, going to the Phoenix Suns. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. The next question was about, Mount Verde or Mount Verde, whatever. When I grew up, it was Mount Verde Academy. Now it's Mount Verde. And your teammates that were all taken in the first round, Cooper Flagg, Derek Queen, Liam McNeely, and one more. Who was the other player that was taken in the first round from Mount Verde?
I don't know, so I'm not even going to throw a name.
Don't throw stuff, okay? Do not throw stuff at
Drake
people.
will not like that.
Was it VJ, maybe? Edgecombe? I can't remember. Regardless, there were 4 players that played on that team together that all got drafted in the first round and played on their high school team.
I wonder if they're any good.
Asa Newell.
Think they're any good?
I would hope they never lost. Undefeated. Never lost. Asa Newell. So they asked Liam McNeely about, hey, how cool is it you now round out the 4 players that had a chance to be drafted from that high school team that you were on a year or so ago. I mean, a year and a half ago, you're playing high school basketball. Now you're being drafted. How cool is that? And that's when he starts crying, is talking about my brothers and our journey and everything. I thought that was a pretty awesome moment because he wasn't crying when he got drafted. It wasn't crying when he was talking about what he could do. Wasn't crying when his mom is saying this guy has overcome so much and he's always been counted out and the underdog and blah, blah, blah. He started crying when he was asked about his teammates at Mount Verde and those guys then being drafted as well. I thought that was a really cool moment. It kind of tells you a lot because it came right after his mom said, well, he's all about team. He's about doing whatever it takes to to win, doing whatever it takes for his team. And then he starts breaking down and can't even get words out talking about his teammates.
Think that's a guy that cares?
Yes.
Think that's a guy who's going to leave it all on the court?
Right.
Now, you obviously have to be talented, right? Let's be real. You can be
I would love
a
to
great
cry over my teammates and getting drafted in the first round. I would do it.
You can
right
be
now.
a great teammate and a hard worker and do and say the right things, but at the end of the day, you have to be talented too. But when those two facets meet, that is the type of guy you want on your team. Especially when you're drafting that late in the first round. A lot of those guys are role players. If you're going to take a role player, take a guy who you know you can count on, a guy who does the little things, won't overlook it, knows that, hey, I might have to take a charge in this situation, put my body on the line. Maybe I have to, rotate here, and he's going to do it. You're not going to see blown assignments on lack of hustle.
Yeah.
It's not going to be O'Neal Cruz for getting outs, right? In baseball, a couple days in a row where he's had that happen. Like,
I would gladly, if the Pirates want to trade him for pennies on the dollar, I would. I'll offer up the Royals to make that trade.
Yeah, after he just booted the ball in center and just stood there like you couldn't believe what just I mean, it was.
I'd love to see that.
Alarming.
I'd love to see that in left field with a guy who hits balls 120 miles an hour.
Yeah, wouldn't
30 stolen
suck.
bases and 18 home runs right now. That would be terrible to put that guy in the outfield.
It wouldn't suck.
You know what? How about this? Kyle Isbell, remind of how many outs there are each play. Hey, O'Neal, we got 2.
Yeah.
O'Neal, there's only 1 out.
Only 1 out, okay.
Hey, O'Neal,
okay.
remember, we just walked out here. Nobody out. Nobody out, OC. All
no,
right?
but I think that players need to start realizing that. But with the rise of AAU, and it's not, I don't like always saying AAU is the boogeyman, because I played AAU basketball, and it was not like this. Competitive, yes, but it wasn't I got to be the guy. I got to be the guy, and I gotta, because if I do this, I can go to this college and then go pro. Like, again, I'm not trying to just pick on Ace Bailey, because I don't think he's the only guy that does that. I think there are guys. We saw it last year with Sarr, a guy from overseas, who basically said, if I'm not, I want to go to pick 2, not pick 1, because I want to go to this organization, this team, because I have a pathway to stardom. It's no longer the team, it's about me. And I just find that a little fascinating, where teams are going to have to try and find the value there, because, again, I think if Ace Bailey didn't have the maybe the me first attitude, he's probably going second overall.
I would say
he's probably going even ahead of Dylan Harper.
Talent-wise, he's definitely got that. There's no doubt about that. One of the cool stories and images that took place last night with pick number 16, the Portland Trailblazers, trading with Memphis. select Yang Hansen from China, the first-round draft pick since Yao Ming from China. Now, Jay Billis and others, Sham Sharani and Jonathan Givony was like, well, this is the first surprise of the first round, is Portland taking this guy here. There was also the commentary about they have been watching this guy for 2 years. It is not a draft and stash. He will play with Portland this year, so they are going to bring him over, and they've been watching him for a couple of years, sending scouts to China to watch him play. But the scene was amazing because they didn't know if he was going to go in the first round. So he was not invited to the draft to sit in the green room. But that wasn't going to stop him from going. He sat in the stands. He just sat up in the stands with the fans, and they announced Yang Hansen, and this 7'3" Chinese player with his white suit stands up in the stands and getting drafted by the Portland Trailblazers. Like, he wasn't even drafted. He wasn't even invited. He's like, bleep you. I don't have to be invited. I'll buy a ticket. I'm going to be there in the draft. How mad would you be if your seats were right behind the 7'3" guy? Like, hey, honey, we got good seats. You sit down and this guy sits down right now. Really? Out of all the spots, this guy? That was an awesome scene. Like, Yang Hansen, he's not up there. He is. He's in the stands.
Well, FAU went to the draft, right? And he left before he got drafted?
That's a good point. Yeah, he went to the draft, and then he went to his draft party later on because he was at the draft with running back at K-State that went to the Dallas Cowboys. Deuce Vaughn, there you go. I put $20 on Deuce Vaughn Heisman Trophy preseason before that year. I didn't win because he did not win. That would have been nice had he won the Heisman Trophy, but I believe that he had a chance to do it. Thought the value was really there. Probably shouldn't have put $20 worth of value on it. That was kind of dumb, but still, you know what? Only bet what you're willing to win. That's the old saying that they say.
Is that what they say,
That's
Jason?
what they say. Only bet how much money that you're willing to actually win. And I was willing to win a lot.
Is that how the Derby for you, when you go and bet on the Derby?
That finally happened this year. Finally got that superfecta. And it helped out, Uncle Sam came calling. I'm like, ha, the horses got me this year, Uncle Sam. You can have this money. I'll take it straight from take this money from Churchill Downs. You can have it there, Mr. Sam. We got a little sports or leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. $25 for Johnny's Tavern will be given away for sports or leisure today. Just over an hour left here in the show. 913-912-4810. Ended up talking a lot of Josh Simmons today. We talked with Kent Swanson in the 11 o'clock hour and ended up having more of an extended conversation about Josh Simmons, which started with just asking about, hey, the biggest development that we've seen from minicamp and OTAs. And it was the fact of Josh Simmons' health is obviously the biggest thing that has come out of that. And what it means for I think there's a couple of things. What it means specifically this year and what it could mean long term. Because this year, they've got essentially their entire offense that they had last year returning outside of Joe Thuney. Everybody else is essentially the same.
Yeah.
And now if Josh Simmons is fully healthy, well, what was the big issue last year? Injuries and left tackle play.
Yeah.
Well, you can't account for injuries. So you're not going to say, well, if once Hollywood goes down or Xavier Worthy misses a game or two, this is what, who knows? Hopefully they're all healthy. But this year, it would be a massive development if Josh Simmons is starting at left tackle because Jalen Moore is also healthy, because he just simply beat him out. And long term, it would be nice to not have to talk about left tackle and what that's going to be, so you can focus on other positional groups that are of need. But also, if you don't get it right, and he's not as good as you hoped, you still need that left tackle, and you spend a first-round draft pick on it.
And you have Jalen Moore. That's why
right.
you went out and
you got Jalen Moore for one more year after this year.
No, I know, but that's why you have that contingency plan. That's why Jalen Moore was going to be the starting left tackle for the next year at least, if not two. But then Josh Simmons fell, and then the Chiefs thought that the value was too good to pass up. So, no, I again, the Chiefs, I think, are in a really good spot. I guess my question, my concern, my intrigue, I don't know if we should tamper expectations a little bit. I mean, we heard a little bit about Kingsley Suamataia in a regard like this last year. Now, obviously, two very different players, but same position. I have not heard this much hype in a while. I mean, I was trying to think about which player or which guy had this much hype for the Chiefs when it was drafted.
I remember.
Like, Royals, for me, is easy to think about. Would it have been Fisher, who was 1-1? Would it have been
Royals? As in, what do you mean Royals?
Like, I think the Kansas City Royals is easy to remember, like when players were drafted, what the hype was.
Oh yeah, last year Jack Caglione.
But like Cags, Bobby, Alex Gordon, like it's easy. Even Hochevar had a whole bunch. Like
Hochevar, Hochevar.
But
Hochevar.
I think for the Chiefs, it's a little difficult because I do think sometimes, as excited as you can be, I think some people will still have some sort of NFL's different. You don't know how it's going to translate, all that stuff.
I'll tell you the one that I brought up with Kent that stands out.
John Baldwin.
Yes. No, it was 2020 Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
See, that's not for me because I was so against that draft pick from the get-go.
But I'm talking about what the league-wide consensus was.
Sure.
Is how did you let Clyde Edwards-Helaire get to the Chiefs?
Yeah,
fair,
I guess.
How does the NFL allow that to happen? The best offense in the NFL now got this guy? I mean, the issue they had was, yes, offensive line, but, well, I guess they had just won the Super Bowl. But, I mean, you had they won a Super Bowl with Damian Williams. Now you're going to put Clyde Edwards-Helaire with Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. Are you kidding me? Like, how ridiculous. We're going to look back, and the NFL is going to regret the fact that Edwards-Helaire sat there and was there at number 32. And that was not the case. I think that was a lot of hype around that.
Well,
there isn't as much hype league-wide around Josh Simmons because of the unknown with the injury and the character concerns. Whereas I think locally, there's tons more hype about Josh Simmons and those that maybe are locally connected by proxy, whereas like Jason Kelce is local to Kansas City by proxy of his brother Travis. So therefore, he might be more informed on Josh Simmons than former football player, podcast host, insert name here that doesn't have like even Chris Long, who had Creed Humphrey on his podcast 2 weeks ago. Even he has that connection by playing with the Chiefs, Creed and Trey's rookie year when they came in. So he's got that connection there. So he might be more versed on, what do you think of Josh Simmons? What do you think about Trey? Great, because he was there. But like, former players outside of 1 degree of separation of Kevin Bacon, do they have the same conversations about Josh Simmons? Or is it, well, it's minicamp and OTAs, and he's going through the first team reps, but they're not really doing anything. Where it just seemed like the conversation, because it was also COVID times, and we didn't really see a whole lot because we didn't have we didn't have a training camp, or we didn't have those.
So you're just looking at college highlights of him at LSU. I get that.
No preseason games. It felt like it was more of a league-wide, like, good God. And the Chiefs were liked at that time.
At the time, that's
people
also a
weren't
good point.
tired of them and saying, let's
They
talk
were
about
fun.
anything but the Chiefs.
They were fun. They were the explosive offense, a lot of points, gave up a lot of points, but a lot of fun. And you're right. There
might be another
one.
one. That's
beloved.
just the one that comes to mind for me nationally of like the hype
that's interesting.
that was there, because I just don't think it's there for Simmons, whereas I think it's going to be there regular season if he plays to the level that the prospect of Josh Simmons as an athlete and a tackle could be.
Is there a rookie at all that I don't want to say concerned, because again, this is so we're not even to training camp yet, obviously. But has there been a player, or let's say a rookie, that maybe you thought would get more love that has not been talked about enough? Because I have one that comes to mind.
In Chiefs
This draft. There's a specific player I'm thinking about that I've not heard a lot of great things about, and I was really high on.
You haven't heard great things, or you just haven't heard anything being talked about with him?
Kind of both.
I'm not sure.
Noah Williams. I was so high on Noah Williams.
For the Chiefs.
Yeah, for the Chiefs. Sorry. Remember the last things we really heard about Noah was he was maybe struggling to pick it up, and it's a lot at once.
Spags, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm really high on him, and we've not heard much about him. I've heard about Omar. I've heard about Jeffrey Boss. I've heard about, obviously, Josh Simmons.
We'll see. We got Sports or Leisure coming up next. 913-381-810. Load them up. First in, first on. Leisure on this Thursday. It is presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 to Johnny's Tavern. We give away in sports or leisure. Get a sports question, get a leisure question. You get them both right, you win. Either of them wrong, sorry, you lose. But the question is out there available for someone to call in and request. We give out the right answer when somebody has answered it correctly, or we have simply run out of time to play. You may get extra chances at guesses depending on what type of mood Sterling is in on the individual, phone calls, what he thinks about you as a person, as a human. You may get extra.
How you eat a banana.
How you eat a banana. That is true.
I am pretty confused by that still.
Yeah, it's
scared. I'm scared by it.
It's sociopathic behavior. It is absolutely that if you do that. All right, 913-3810810 is the phone number. $25 at Johnny's Tavern. 10 area locations with the premier sports bar, including Lawrence and Topeka. And we give away $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Talked a lot of Chiefs today. And NBA draft last night. Night number 2 coming up tonight right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll see if there are any local players taken. Tamar Bates, one of the guys that has shown up on some mock drafts late in the second round, so he might be a guy that's potentially going to be drafted. Might show up there in the in the draft tonight. So we'll see with night number 2 right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, let's get into the categories for sports or leisure today. The categories, we have NBA draft. We have broken up into actually 4 different categories.
Nice.
So there's general NBA draft.
Okay.
But then there's also NBA draft questions about KU, MU, and K-State.
Nice.
So those are the 4 categories. It's NBA draft, regular, just generic, general, and then the 3 local teams, questions about those draft picks. We still have College Royals in Omaha. These are questions about Royals players that played in the College World Series. Some of them are current Royals players. Some are past Royals players. And then we have a generic Royals category as well. So that's our category. Those are our categories, NBA draft and the subset categories of the local teams, College Royals in Omaha and general Royals on the sports side. What about on the leisure side, sir?
Which Sixers draft pick broke my heart? All of them.
That's the answer. Every one of them. This guy was drafted and broke my heart. Just name any Sixers draft pick.
We have Potpourri.
Potpourri.
We're bringing back the ever-favorite riddles.
Okay.
We've stocked up on riddles, Potpourri, and then we will do... I'll do a third one that I still have a few left over in. We'll do a few left over in sports nicknames. We have 3 left over in sports nicknames.
Okay. So those are the categories on the leisure side. So we've got that going for us as well. 913-3810810 is the phone number. First in, first on. I'm ready to go. Sterling, you ready to play?
I am ready to play, Jason.
Drake, what do you say?
I mean, if we have to, we have to.
Yes, I love it. That is actually what Drake said earlier. I said, here are your sports questions for sports or leisure. He said, do we have to play sports or leisure today? I said, well, we don't have to, but we're going to. He said,
yeah.
Are we going to? He loves it. He loves sports and leisure.
I'm shocked he didn't block the phone lines.
You're not running the feud today, Drake. That's good, right?
I'm so bad at that. Just keeping score flummoxes me.
I swear, I would give out one of the answers when they have said who has been guessed and what do we have left. I cannot believe Adam and Kyle and how good they are week by week, that when they're given the guesses that have been wrong or right, and it's been, you guys got number 1 and then named the answer. You guys got number 2 that named the answer. You guys got number 5 that named the answer. Here are the ones you got wrong. How not every once in a while you guys got number 3. This is the answer. Oh wait, you didn't get that one. Like that would happen all the time. Like they do a great job. I don't know how they do it. I don't even care how they do it because I don't have to do it. I just enjoy the segment. Drake has to care about how they do it because every once in a while he has to do the segment, and that's not fun.
And Seren says he finds it hilarious when I can't keep up. So
oh, it's great. I find it hilarious too. Even if you can really keep up, to keep up the bit, you should do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even if it's a bit, keep doing that because it's incredibly entertaining. All right, 913-3810810. We're all ready to go. Let's head to the phone lines, and we bring in Matt first up on Sports or Leisure. Matt, welcome into the show. What side would you like to start with first, sir?
All right, let's go sports, and let's go KU NBA draft.
KU NBA draft. All right, let's go with this one. We saw Duke with multiple players drafted in the first round last night. Who were the last pair of KU teammates to be drafted in the first round?
Ooh, solid one.
Oh, I think it's...
It wasn't last year, was it?
Nope.
Oh, God.
But it wasn't too long ago either.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking of a different one. But, yeah, I think you're right. That was...
Yeah.
Because Johnny Furphy was last year, but I don't think anybody else was drafted with Johnny Furphy.
It wasn't super long ago, though.
Yeah. You may have been still celebrating the national championship, as you may have forgot this.
Oh, Ochai Agbaji and Christian Brown.
Oh, there you go. Was that too easy of a hit? I guess that was probably too much of a layup there, with that one. But you got it. I almost thought for a second of saying before Ochai and Christian Brown, who were the last pair of teammates for KU.
Yeah, because
but I did not go that route.
Well, I knew the one I knew. Can I say, because I doubt you have this one, do you have another one of two players drafted the same class?
No,
the 03 draft class
Yeah.
had the same. That's what I was thinking was the 03 one, which actually had LeBron, Bosh, Wade in it. And then, of course, two KU players were drafted in the first round.
Who were that? Who were they?
Collison and Kirk Heinrich.
Well, you also had the Morris twins that were drafted in the first round, too.
Oh, so I was going way too far back. I was going to 03, yeah.
They went back to back.
I was saying, wasn't Drew Gooden drafted with somebody in the first round, too?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, well, sorry, you guys had a lot of great players. Missouri's like, remember that time when we had
that one draft
Jabari
pick?
Brown when he was...
Remember the draft pick that one time, that guy? That
Jordan
did that?
Clarkson, baby!
Yeah, take that in the face. Yeah. Woo, Peeler in the house. All right, on to the leisure side with Sterling.
Love Keon Dooling.
Yeah.
We have
All right.
riddles. We have a couple left in sports nicknames, and we have potpourri.
Let's go sports nicknames.
All right, sports nicknames. We're going to run out of these very quickly, but that's okay. There's
more nicknames out there.
This guy is a bad podcast host, but also his name was Agent Zero.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Gilbert Arenas?
Gilbert Arenas.
Nice job. Well done.
That
was
dude
quick.
is just
Boom.
out there trying to make bad takes for the sake of bad takes. I think he actually hates basketball.
well,
I'm convinced that dude hates basketball.
Well, here's the thing. That's how you find out that he's got a
Talk about
podcast.
the locker room?
Yeah, he did bring a weapon allegedly in the locker room. I think
Is it still
a few times.
Is it still alleged, or is that?
I just always say it to try and cover my ass.
I kind of feel like
Because I feel like when I don't say allegedly, I'm basically wearing assless chaps.
I get it. Yeah, no,
You got to
that's
cover
so-
your ass.
Allegedly, you're wearing those. Matt, we'll put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, $25 at Johnny's Tavern heading your way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Rock Chalk.
How about that? Got that one in there.
I'm not going to say that back. Nope.
Yep. Yeah, you got an E5's a Mizzou guy as well.
You
Emmy's-
might get an EMAW, though, from me. My wife went to K-State. I
Emmy's
can throw an EMAW for you.
Emmy's a K-Stater, you know?
Yeah?
Emmy's a Wildcat. He's an EMAW, you know? He's cannonballing that thing, man.
Yeah.
He's doing all of it. Always throwing up the EMAW sign as well, the K-State sign. Yeah, he's throwing that up there.
That's just a finger.
Or he's calling for a changeup.
Yeah.
Circle change. I want you to throw the circle change on this pitch. That's what he's asking for. All right, 913-381-810. Let's go to Cajun next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Cajun, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Oh, let's do leisure, please.
All right, we have sports nicknames, riddles, or potpourri.
Well, since my name is Cajun, I must go potpourri.
All right, we're going potpourri. All right. The Statue of Liberty was a gift to the U.S. from what country?
Oh, wow. Really?
Oh, come on, man.
That's...
All right, I have one for you before I answer, okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
What was the Statue of Liberty originally intended to be?
A Trojan horse.
Huh?
A Trojan horse.
No, it was actually supposed
Eiffel
to
Tower.
be. It was actually supposed to be at the in Egypt, and it was supposed to be a Muslim woman. And that's swear to God, that's a fact. You can Google it.
Wow, I learned something today.
Yeah, Cajun has taught us that.
Cajun, I like
France.
that.
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty is from France.
Yeah, I
Well,
learned something
and
new
Cajun's
today.
from an area that has no French influence whatsoever.
Oh man, I wanted to ask Lebo if he went to the my homeland where my original ancestors' land was stolen from them by the British. Just wondering if he went up there.
Quebec?
Nova Scotia, it's called. Nova Scotia. Well, it could be Quebec, the Maritime Provinces, New Brunswick, Northern Maine even was part of Acadia back in the old days until 1755 when the British kicked us out.
Yeah. See,
I need to ask him a tougher question now. I feel like this is a...
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, go. Go for it, G.
All good, all good. That's
Try
what.
me.
We have Cajun
Try me.
on to help
Double
educate
or
us.
nothing.
Double
or nothing. Johnny.
Whoa! He wants more potpourri.
Johnny's Tavern won't let me have this.
Double or nothing. I can bring my friend along.
There's insurance that will cancel out the $25 gift card. I don't think that's true, but we will give you one over on the sports side. How about that? We got NBA draft with the 3 local teams that have a subset category: College Royals in Omaha and just General Royals.
Did you say the NBA draft? Is that like
there's a generic
general?
Yeah, there's
any
a general
NBA draft or the current one?
There's just any, just different questions that may
Any?
have
Let's do that.
may have come from this draft. Let's go with this one. Man, which coach has the most top 10 selections in the NBA draft in college basketball history?
Which coach has the most top 10? Izzo?
He's got 24 top 10 draft picks in the NBA.
Am I right?
This coach has 24 top 10 picks in the NBA draft in his career. Now, I'll tell you this. He's going to stay at 24.
What?
Oh, he's going to stay at 24.
Yeah, he's gonna have to stay at 24.
Okay. I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, he's
yeah.
going to have to stay at 24.
So
unless something really changes.
So it's
then
not obviously Calipari because
it's not Dennis Gates.
He's still coaching.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I can't remember all the coaches.
No. I'm assuming this is a guy who retired fairly recently, about 3 years ago.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. God, then yeah.
I'd say it's pretty close. Yeah. Pretty
wasn't Tubby, was it?
No.
Guy, I'm assuming this guy has a very difficult last name.
It ain't French.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, tell me his ethnicity if you think you know it.
Oh, man.
We're not going to offend anyone.
Oh, man.
We're not gonna
I have no idea what it would be. It's
all right, well, never mind. I give up.
No, you should get this. I believe in you, Cajun.
I don't.
All right, the clock is ticking.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah.
To the guys that I used to work with over at Fairbanks, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it hot enough for you guys today?
It's hot enough for everybody, man.
They don't have any AC there.
Oh, that's too bad. Cajun, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for playing, man.
All right, buddy.
You're the man.
All right,
all right, 913-381-810. Polish origin.
Yeah,
Polish origin.
Checks out.
Yes. Let's go to who's up next. Greg next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Greg, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with? Gregory, are you on mute?
He might have muted himself. That's a very common occurrence on this show.
Yes. Maybe he muted us. It's typically the best way to listen to the show.
It's like John Cage 422.
Is that what it is? Gregory.
It's a poll right
Greggy. Greg. Gregster. G-Man.
433, I apologize. John Cage. Poll.
All right, Greg.
Put him back on hold. We'll get back
Will
to
we?
him.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe.
Well, I don't know. Well, maybe we'll give him another shot down the road. Maybe a while down the road. Avery. Next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Boy, Avery just walks right into one. Avery, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I'm a Polish origin.
Oh, yeah?
And also one time I got Dave Borchert to say Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
You did?
Yeah.
How much money did you pay him? Or what was the blackmail? What were the pictures that you were willing to burn?
It was really cold at a Wizards game, and I let him in. I was like, you got to say Rock Chalk Jayhawk before I open the door.
That's kind of mean, though.
Yeah, that's kind of a bully.
It's kind of a torture.
Avery,
to a degree. Yeah,
you bullied them.
But anyway, I'll skip over that Coach K question and get a College World Series Royals question.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, so let's go with. Ooh, you know what? It's Avery. So here we go.
Ah, nice.
Here we go, Avery.
Nick Finnegan. Final answer.
No, I said it's you. I'm not going to give you a layup. This Bulldog was one of 3 players that came to the Royals in the same offseason that played together on the same College World Series team. Drafted by the Padres, he'd play for 5 different teams before joining the Royals on a 2-year contract. A deal he never saw the end of. His best days were behind him. He hit almost 200 home runs in his career. Unfortunately, only 15 of those came in the 155 games he played for the Royals.
Oh,
I'm at the K right now, and I'm looking at a plaque to this gentleman. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know who this guy is. Have a good day, guys.
Wait, no. Hey, hang on.
You're not giving Avery hints.
All right. I don't want to go yet. What?
You're not giving Avery hints.
Is it?
You're not giving Avery hints. It's Avery.
Yeah, I know exactly who this is.
Avery doesn't.
I was correct, by the way.
Avery has earned his way to the respect of no hints. Right, Avery?
Yeah, that's fine. We're good.
All right,
I love you guys. I love Lebo.
Don't we all? Thank you, Avery.
By the way, my ChatGPT app has told me to please call it Avery.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Why does it say to call the ChatGPT app Avery?
Sometimes I will ask the ChatGPT technical questions. Which capacitor do you think has gone bad? Or which fuse do you think I need to change my car? And I said I feel weird just calling you ChatGPT, and it said call me Avery.
Is it the flex capacitor that's gone bad?
Usually.
How many gigawatts is there that need to have?
1.21.
I knew it was 1.21. 913-381-0810. Let's go to John next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. John, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Well, let's start with sports. Now, since Avery didn't take the Coach K question, I feel like I can't do it either.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine.
I feel like people should get the baseball question. I thought that was
doesn't mean that he wants it. I mean,
I know.
Certainly people can.
Avery didn't even try. I thought that was actually not that.
Well, the fact that he said he was looking at a plaque, I knew that wasn't right.
I knew that's not right either.
Also, maybe he was looking at the guy's teeth. I have no idea about that. That's closer to what it would have been than looking at a plaque out at Kaufman.
Yeah.
But John, what side do you want to start with?
Let's do a KU draft question.
All right, let's do this. Speaking of top 10, Bill Self has had 5 players drafted in the top 10 at Kansas. Who was the first of those top 10 draft picks for Bill Self?
Oh, Bill Self.
Ooh.
Bill Self has had 5 draft picks in the top of 10.
Oh, goodness.
It's a good question, Jason.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Sterling. Now that I got your approval, I feel good about it.
So top 10.
Yep,
so
top 10 selection.
So he post 2004 is, I think, when he started. So he would have missed the Heinrich, all that. That was Coach Williams.
Yeah, that was 03.
Yep, he would have missed Gooden 4, Heinrich 7. So it was essentially, looking through, it was the next top 10 pick after Kirk Heinrich. Well, they had that long of a break. How about that?
Man, I'm thinking, it wasn't like Embiid or Macklemore.
Yeah, it was definitely, let's see, it would have been, it was before Embiid, Macklemore.
Let me go with Thomas Robinson then.
Well done. Thomas Robinson is correct. Nice job. T-Rob went number 5. My hint was going to be this guy mauled and fouled Phil Pressey. And what was going to be great is then you were going to know exactly who it was. And by saying the answer, then you would have then been admitting that that's the guy that mauled and fouled Phil Pressey.
That would have been a great sounder.
But you know what, John? You got it right without that hint, so now we don't have to do that to you. So
I wouldn't have acknowledged that.
You know what? I don't know who it is because that never happened. I'm just going to hang up. You got me, guys.
The Air was drafted top 10, huh?
You got me, guys. That's it. You got me. I'm out.
It was a foul. It was a foul.
Over to leisure with also, you know what? Don't blow a 19-point lead. That could also be part of that. Over to leisure with Sterling.
Potpourri, riddles, and we have a couple left in sports nicknames.
I stink at nicknames and riddles, so I think it's going to have to be potpourri.
All right, potpourri. All right, I like this one. Which U.S. president is featured on the $2 bill?
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
I have a couple in my wallet right now, actually. I get my grandparents send me one for Christmas sometimes or my birthday.
Do they give you a $2 bill every single birthday? And I'll give Audrey a quarter too.
Not everyone. But every once in a while, and I'll hand them out to people, so that way I always keep at least one or two in my wallet. But I like because it's fun to get when you get one. You get at least I get giddy when I get a $2 bill. $2 bill.
I've got a $2 bill.
Yeah,
and I got my $2 bill was gifted to me from a former Kansas Jayhawk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Double G.
So I actually have one in my wallet right now. So similar to the previous answer, Thomas Robinson, we have another Thomas. Yeah, Mr. Jefferson.
There you go.
Look at that. See, we can do a thing where we actually
that's right.
Have a theme, and the theme was Thomas.
That's right.
I was gonna say this guy. The initials are the same as the guy who should have maybe won Finals MVP, T.J. McConnell.
I see what
Thomas
you're saying.
Jefferson, T.J. McConnell.
But he shouldn't have those. You'd have been wrong
if the
on that one.
Pacers would have won.
You'd have been wrong on that one. My $2 bill was gifted to me by Greg Gurley.
Yeah,
Greg Gurley gave me a $2 bill, so that was very nice of him to do that. That's a winner, right? That's Thomas Robinson and Thomas Jefferson.
Big Thomas guy.
There we go. Thomas Jefferson also fouled Phil Pressey. People don't realize that as well. John, we'll put you on hold. Get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. You got it. 913-381-0810. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. If you're on hold, first in, first on, we'll get to you guys. Shane, Ronnie, Tim, have some open phone lines as well. If you guys want to get in line to play some sports or a leisure doing that, we continue right after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. excited about you. I would have named you. All right, we'll continue on this Thursday edition of The Zone. Game 2, night 2. Game 2 of the NBA draft tonight.
Game 2 of Sports or Leisure.
That's right.
Coming your way.
Game 2, Sports or Leisure on the same day. But night 2 of the NBA draft right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We've got NBA draft questions as we're playing Sports or Leisure, presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 at Johnny's Tavern is what we are giving away. If you get a sports question and a leisure question right, you will win. And the categories, let's reset categories here since we're in game 2 of Sports or Leisure. Categories are, we have general NBA draft, and then we have NBA draft questions about KU, MU, and K-State. We have college Royals in Omaha, a question out there already about one of the Royals that played in the College World Series. And we also have general Royals as well. General Royals. That's on the sports side. What about leisure side?
General Royals, I'm Major. We have Potpourri, otherwise known as Potpourri. We have Riddles, and we have 2 questions left in sports nicknames.
All right. 913-3810810. Back to the phone lines we go when we bring in Shane to the conversation to play Sports or Leisure. Shane, welcome into the show. What side do you want to start with?
Hey, guys. Sports. I want to do the NBA draft local schools.
Local schools. Okay. Which school?
I'd rather do Mizzou if you have one.
Yep, I got you a Mizzou heading your way. All right. How old are you?
46.
46. So this would have been right around your time as well. Let's go with this one then. Since Doug Smith in 1991 taken at number 6, Mizzou has had one player drafted in the top 10. Who is it?
That'd be Peeler, right? Anthony Peeler? No. Take that back.
I know you're going to take that back. I know you're just
thinking
out loud.
Yeah, he wasn't top 10.
You're just
he was
thinking
after by the Lakers, but you're right.
Just thinking out loud. That's all.
Calling him Ed Sheeran, thinking out loud.
He was top 20.
Oh,
he went number 15. Did Anthony Peeler?
Okay, yeah. That's right. He was not in the top
10.
I
think. In fact, his name has been mentioned already.
Yeah.
This hour. Sterling mentioned it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I've got a couple guys in mind I have to pick through here. I'm trying to deduct.
What did you give him the era? Did you say what years?
Here's the thing. I'll give him a hint in that. I think this might be too easy of a hint, but I don't care. Shane's been waiting on a while, and he asked for an MU question. This would have been the last player recruited by Norm Stewart to be drafted.
Yeah, that's the guy. I think that's the guy I'm thinking of. Because he played a little after Norm left, I think, right?
Yep. 1 year with Norm, 1 year without Norm.
Right. So I think so. I'm going to guess then it's got to be hopefully it's Keon Dooling.
Keon Dooling, number 10 in 2000, recruited by Norm, and then played 1 year with Quinn, and then went on to the NBA as the number 10 overall pick in the draft. Well done. Over to leisure with Sterling.
Potpourri, couple left in sports nicknames or riddles.
Oh, I haven't heard anybody do riddles yet. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, let's do some riddles.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Yeah.
Let's break open that.
All right, let's bust it open.
Put our thinking caps on now. Here we go.
4 cars arrive at a 4-way stop. They all go at the same time, but they don't crash. How is that possible? This one took me a second, then it was pretty obvious, but it took me a second at first. So picture 4 cars.
Oh, I know.
All at a 4-way stop. All go at the same time, but they don't crash.
Yeah.
How?
That's easy.
I'm trying to picture that. I've got one right by my house that I go through a lot. What's that?
I got it.
You must hate NASCAR.
I got it just because I know how to freaking drive.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing is, and I can't stand people. You know what's annoying? You know what really grinds my gears? Is when people are not anticipating their turn at the 4-way stop.
Correct.
And so they just drive up there and they're not actually looking around to see who's next.
They're on their
and
phone.
And then they look around. Is it me? Is it you? Is it me? Is it me? Is it me?
All right, you got it. What do you have, baby?
I got it. They all turn the same way, so they're all going to go, I guess you could say they all make like a right-hand turn.
Correct. They all turn right. They hate NASCAR, baby.
Because it'd be crazy if they all took a left-hand turn, because I think that might result in
That
some,
might-
some
yeah.
collision damage
right.
there.
Has to be right.
Yes, but all took a right-hand turn. Nice job. Well, what happens if they're all tied? Well, then, it's they all are going right anyway. It doesn't matter.
Well,
also,
either way, nobody knows how to do a four-way stop anymore. So that's okay. That's just the old man in me.
I lived by a 5-way stop in Philly. You want to talk about a disaster? That's a disaster.
Dude, Shane, it happened the other day to me. Arriving at a 4-way stop, I get there right after the car that's directly across from me. All right? The car directly across from me stops. I then come to a stop. I start going straight. This car starts going and then immediately slams on the brakes and honks at me because they were going left without their turn signal.
Right.
I'm assuming you're going straight, you jackass. You can't.
Exactly.
I don't have to wait for you to go if you're going straight. I've come to a stop. You're already at a stop. Yes, you're first. And if you had your turn signal on, I would wait my turn. You would be going left. But you can't honk and yell at me when you aren't using your turn signal. That's why we almost wrecked. Oh, Shane, I'm telling you, man, it's just.
Jason,
I don't
not
get it,
everybody. Not everybody can be so intelligent and have that Northwest education like you and I.
Thank you, Shane. That is right. That's what I'm talking about. The driving classes that we took up
yeah,
there.
we took those driving classes as freshmen. Remember?
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
wink, wink. Yeah,
absolutely. That's a winner, right? Yeah, that's a winner for Shane. Shane, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, brother.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
Absolutely, you too. Is there anything more annoying than somebody else being in the wrong but then honking at you?
No.
Oh, dude. At that point, it's not a road rage, but I do want to stop and explain the issue here.
Here's what you did wrong, guy.
Here's the issue. You have to use your turn signal so that I know you're going left. If not, I'm assuming you're going straight. Therefore, I don't have to wait for you to go. We can just be like two ships passing in the night.
Correct.
Oh.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding. That's right. That person was a ding, ding. All right, let's go to Ronnie next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Want to go off?
Ronnie, Sports or Leisure?
I'll probably take your belt off for me.
No, let's listen in. What's wrong?
Well, it's security, Crazies can come in anywhere.
Well, Ronnie, you're on.
Something here, people
All
are
right,
like,
there we go.
Security.
Well, maybe we should turn that one down. I have no idea what they're talking about at that point.
Talking about security, I like it.
Yes, I have no idea. Security. Well, somebody got into Ronnie's phone. Somebody has got into Ronnie's phone and has called into Sports or Leisure, and it's not actually
I say
Ronnie.
bring it back on. Ronnie, you're on Sports Radio 810. Let's keep it going.
Royals.
Yeah. General Royals?
Chiefs, Royals.
Just General Royals?
Just shoot me.
All right. Very.
Sorry, dealing with the metal detector.
Oh, I see what it is. That's so. Now we know that
now
it's
the security with Ronnie.
Just anybody can get in.
Yeah.
So Ronnie's dealing with the metal.
They
I
made
get
me
it.
Take off my belt.
All right, Ronnie, I feel bad for you. Okay, now we're going to work with you here, Ronnie.
All right.
Carlos Estevez with 22 saves on the season. We could put you on hold and come back to you next if you.
No, we're good.
Okay. Estevez has 22 saves on the season. It's the second most saves by a Royals reliever through the team's first 78 games. This person had 24. So the Royals reliever with more saves than Carlos Estevez is 22 at this point in the season. It's the second most ever. This person had the most.
All right. Was this would we call this the winning era, or was this during the Great Depression still?
So it wasn't necessarily the Great Depression, but it was during the long drought. But this wasn't a awful sort of time. It was a long drought that we thought every year had a chance. And you know what? And every once in a while, like two ships passing in the night, each other, we sometimes pass this guy in the hallway. You know?
Wait, that last sentence, what was that again?
Here at the station, sometimes we pass each other in the hallway.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to say Greg Holland.
Well, I don't pass Greg Holland.
No, we don't pass
here.
Greg Holland in the hallway. I was
At the
thinking
station.
actually.
I don't know, man.
That was good. That's pretty funny. I don't know, man.
Sorry. Oh, do I get another guess?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
we get you another guess. Come on.
They've been look, man.
They took your belt off. Come on, you at least get an extra
yes,
answer.
Right.
All right.
Yes.
We're not that savage.
I mean,
right.
All right. I'm gonna say
we see him around the office here from time to time because he, sort of has an office
Montgomery?
here. Yeah, it's Monty. But that, Monty, Jeff Montgomery had 24 saves in 1993.
I was going to guess
Okay,
Joaquim
leisure, do we have
Soria.
Pop culture of some sort.
Pop culture, anything leisure, pop culture, potpourri.
Okay, I'll go the most pop culture, which would be in potpourri.
The most.
I mean, not really pop culture by any means,
Try
but
it.
all right.
Just throw me a question. We'll take it.
All right.
Shoot 'em.
What sport do you race to win the America's Cup?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
No, you know this.
Did you say race?
Yeah, you win America's Cup.
Yeah, it's like two ships passing in the night.
It really is like two ships passing in the night.
These
are big. These are big too.
Race? I don't
These
know.
are racing big things.
Ooh, phone a friend. Anybody near you?
Yeah,
ask
phone a
them.
friend.
I want you to ask.
This would
around.
be good.
America's Cup. America's Cup?
What race?
What race? It's not not a car.
It's not a car. It's a big
not a
thing,
car.
though.
It is a big thing.
Shad Khan owns one.
Nope, not the Derby. Anybody
Yeah, I don't
else
know.
around? Oh, I want you to phone a friend.
They don't race Carnival cruise ships, do they?
Hey, you're pretty close.
You're not.
I almost want to give it to you for that.
You're not far off.
We're not talking about trash boats. No. I don't know.
Talking about big boats, though.
Big.
Shad Khan owns one.
He does own. Well, but he also owns an NFL team.
Talking about the cigarette boats in Ozarks?
No, we're
No.
talking about big boats.
But God, I wish the cigarette
Man,
boats in the Ozarks.
Can I give
was
him?
what-
Can we give it to him? He said the Carnival Cruise is pretty close to this.
Giving him a lot of hints, man.
I mean, they never raced the Titanic, did they?
But
No,
pretty
they did
close
not.
though. Like
They
if
did
someone
not.
is singly owned a Titanic and lived on it.
Freightliner races?
No.
Can we give it to him?
Ronnie,
fair
thank you
enough.
for
Well,
thank you for
thank
playing,
you.
Ronnie. You're the man. Appreciate it, brother.
I'm fucked.
That was one of my favorite calls.
That was so good, man.
That was a great
I
call.
had no idea what was going on because she was talking about, well, it's security and anybody can just get in here as well. We can't just do that. And I'm like, well, what are we talking about
Made
there?
him take his belt off.
No idea, but he was getting through
These
a metal
really are
detector.
like two ships passing in the night.
Yeah, he was like, metal detector, and he's like, well, I don't care, just shoot me. Well, not going to happen there where you are because you've
Yeah.
already walked through the metal detector, so you're good, man. You've made it on that side.
Intern, shake your head yes if you know what race to win the America's Cup is.
E5 is no. He
E5 is no. He
is no.
showed teeth. He went.
He is
"Eh."
out. All right, let's sail to the next break. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, we continue playing Sports or Leisure here. 913-381-810. It's presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 we give away to Johnny's Tavern. Let's head to the phone lines. Let's bring in Tim. Tim, Sports or Leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
I would prefer the leisure, and I would gladly welcome that last regatta-based question.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, go ahead. Just ask the question in case somebody's just
what
tuning
sport
in.
do you race to win the America's Cup?
You race? What? That's what you mean, like a sailboat.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a sailing race.
Yeah, but you
Now
know.
we can do yacht rock too.
Oh, we'll
For
double
bronze.
down.
Yes,
Yacht
that's
rock
what.
and that.
Right, I know, but that's not the case here.
That's 2 out of 3.
I'll give you some yacht rock.
You
Come
can't give them
on.
yacht rock because that's leisure. You're over
You
to
can
sports
do
now.
magic.
I know.
So
You raced to Thunder Island.
do you? I don't. On the sports
Jay
side,
Ferguson.
we got NBA draft, and then categories in NBA draft with KU, K-State, and MU, college Royals in Omaha, and just general Royals.
Let's go with General Royals.
Okay, very good. This was a very popular question a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. I can't remember. Salvador Perez became the all-time leader in Royals history with multi-home run games with 18. Who are the two players in second and third all-time Royals multi-home run games?
Oh.
I'm asking for the two players because one of them's the free space.
With
multi-home run games.
2-game consecutive game homers.
No, just 2 home runs at least in one game. So Salvi has 18 career games as a Royal with hitting 2 or more home runs in a game. 18 is the record. It is 1 more than the man who is in second place and 2 more than the man who is in third place. And I'm asking for both the second and third place because one of them is the free space.
One of them is that Brett?
George Brett. Yeah, we always say when it comes to Royals that there's always a free space. If there's a free space, we let you know that something is a free space. And if there's a free space, it's George Brett. Who was the other one? George Brett's second was 17. Salvi has 18. This person got pretty close to Brett, but never tied or surpassed.
Okay. Was he in that era?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. Reed. Okay.
Yep. Brett had already established the record by the time this person showed up in a Royals uniform.
So this guy would be third.
He is third. Yep, with 16 of them.
So he had to play a while for one thing.
Mm-hmm. We'll throw a dart.
Thinking this probably.
Maybe, I don't know. It ain't Salvi. It's not. We named George Brett. Maybe right in the middle of those two.
Hey.
Not an old time.
We just tell you, if you ask frustrated people at the time, he was always the reason they lost.
Yeah. He was always the reason they lost.
He was the reason they lost, even though it's absurd to blame this guy since he was the only one doing anything for those teams. But people would complain because he didn't hit 7 home runs
So
in a
it's
game.
a real bad dry spell era.
Uh-huh. And it was
Okay.
always
But I
blaming this
ruled
guy.
out my other choice. Oh, geez.
Throw a dart. 1, 2, 3, guess. Go.
Hot dogs.
Oh, geez.
I don't know what the hot dogs is not a guess, or
I
a
want
hint,
to
by the way.
say Tartable, but it can't be him. He wasn't that long.
Nope. Throw a dart. Gotta have an answer. Gotta
3.
have an answer. Got people on hold. Gotta have an answer.
2.
What do you say?
1.
Tim, sorry, man. Thank you for playing, Tim. 913-381-810. We got people on hold. So let's go to Andrew next up on Sports Radio 810. Andrew, Sports or Leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I'll do leisure first.
All right, we have a couple of sports nicknames, riddles or potpourri.
Let's go potpourri.
All right, potpourri. What is the smallest planet in our solar system?
Well, here's a question, though. So let's discuss because...
Not Pluto.
Okay.
Can't be Pluto because it's technically a dwarf planet.
But it can be. When I grew up.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, but
back in my day.
We got people on hold, Jason. We got to get through this. What is the smallest planet in our solar system?
But I wanted to make sure we were all on the same page.
Yeah, I grew up with Pluto being a planet.
Thank
you. So to me, it's always going to be a planet, but the next smallest one would be Mercury.
It is Mercury.
Nice
By the
job.
way, I did grow up with Pluto also as a planet, and then it got taken away from me.
Right. And now Pluto is just a dog. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, so that's weird. All right, on to the sports side. What category are you thinking?
NBA draft, local schools.
All right, NBA draft. Which school?
Mizzou, if you have any.
I've got a few more Mizzou questions left as well. Let's go with, you know what? Let's play off the most recent one as well. Who was the last player to play his entire career for Norm Stewart to be drafted in the first round?
Oh, man.
This man was also talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe even in that same question earlier.
Correct.
He happened to be on hold. I don't know. The last
Peeler?
player. Anthony Peeler is correct. Nice job. 1992 went number 15 overall.
I was going to say, if you don't like skin on your potatoes, you use this.
Yeah, E5 does not do this to his banana. Or he does this to his entire banana and eats it while holding it with the entire thing.
Anthony is it.
Yep. Andrew, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations, man. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. 913-381-810. Let's bring in Phil. Phil, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Is that Mike Sweeney question still out there?
Mike Sweeney question is available. Let's see if it's right or not. Salvador Perez became the all-time leader in Royals history with multi-home run games at 18. Who are the two players second and third behind Salvi? George Brett was guessed earlier. That was correct with 17. Who's the third place guy with 16?
Juan Gonzalez.
Almost.
Juan Gonzalez, yeah. Mike Sweeney.
Mike Sweeney was 16. That's correct. On to leisure with Sterling.
Potpourri.
Juan Gonzalez, did he even play 16 games?
Probably not. Sports nicknames.
Let's do potpourri, please, sir.
All right, potpourri. Two states in the U.S. share the most borders with other states. Name one.
Share the most borders?
Yes. Two states in the U.S. share the most borders with other states. Name one. Name one of the two.
He played 33 games with the Royals that year.
Wow, yeah.
Juan Gonzalez.
He came back from injury and then ran to first base, jogged to first base.
I wonder if it's an easy one. Is it next door to Kansas, I wonder?
Could be.
Could be.
Missouri. How about Missouri?
Missouri is one. Actually, I didn't know Missouri was. I knew it was Tennessee. Tennessee was the one I remember as a kid.
Missouri is definitely.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah.
I mean, they're tied. But yeah, both Missouri and Tennessee share the most borders with other states.
Yeah, there's a piece of Kentucky that is in Missouri. That is like an island that is surrounded by all of Missouri.
Correct. I looked this up, and we actually did a whole bit on this.
We did, yep. Yeah. And people should remember that because we bring it up from time to time for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. On the no, you got the
got
Sweeney
Mike
question
Sweeney.
right.
That's a winner.
Phil, you got the Sweeney question right too.
I'm a winner.
There you go. Well done, Phil. Thank you. We'll put you on hold. Congratulations.
I love Lebo. Thank you.
Don't we all?
I also love Lebo.
Don't we all love Lebo though? Isn't that pretty universal that we all love Lebo? Does it? Man, I wouldn't trust somebody that didn't love Lebo. If you didn't love Lebo and don't love Lebo, then you and I have nothing in common. We can't. If you don't love Lebo, you probably peel your entire banana and then hold it and eat it. If you don't love Lebo, you might be in that same category of sociopathic.
He's
behavior.
proud of that. That's how I know
E5
that he's a psycho.
Yeah, E5 very proud of the fact that he peels his entire. We talked about this a little bit earlier because we just had to get it out that. We have an intern, E5, that takes a banana and peels the entire said banana and then holds the fully peeled banana in his hand while throwing the peel away, but just holding this banana in his hand as opposed to doing what a normal human being would do, which is peel it while eating it.
Devastating.
It's what sociopaths do. That's when you know that this person, we I don't know, maybe background checks from time to time here at the station for interns. I think we should have more background checks.
Any questions you did not get correct, Jason? Actually, you did get one, I know, because I know the answer to it.
Mike's weenie.
Hot dogs.
What are the hot dogs?
I don't know.
I'm not sure what the hot dogs are. And then the question we had of college Royals in the World Series. This Bulldog was one of 3 players that came to the Royals in the same offseason that played together on the same College World Series team, drafted by the Padres, played for 5 different teams before joining the Royals on a 2-year contract. A deal he never saw the end of, as his best days were behind him. Hit almost 200 home runs in his career. Unfortunately, only 15 of those came in the 155 games he played in Kansas City. That would be Hunter Renfroe.
Yep.
Is the answer
Hunter
to
Renfroe.
that one. And that is
a winner. Wow, Sterling, you get $25 at Johnny's Tavern. Nice. Thank
are
you. Appreciate it, Jason.
Those are the the Coach K question that everybody said. I'm just not going to take the Coach K question because that's too easy. It was the coach with the most top 10 selections in the NBA draft with 24. John Shire got 3 of them last night. Yeah. John Shire's like, I am going to catch you, K. I'll be there. I got 3 in one night. So he's only 6 more drafts away from doing that.
Close, yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess it would be 7 more drafts
more
away
to tie, but yeah.
to get there to tie, yeah.
That's impressive. Missouri, Dennis Gates is going to get close. He's going to get so close. Anor Boating and Theo Barrett both going.
I hope Dennis Gates gets within 23 of him. I'll settle right now for Dennis Gates getting within 23 of K.
Yeah. Yeah, give me 22. Give me 2.
That's being a little stingy, right?
I don't ask for much.
Yeah, you're asking for a little bit much there. 2 of them? When Keon Dooling's the last one to be taken in the top 10 25 years ago?
A lifetime!
Half a lifetime. The program is up next.